Chapter 4150. The terrifying sun sword light shot into the sky and collided with the sky palm once again. This time the storm was even more terrifying. The time it lasted was also longer than before. However, the situation this time was different. The sky palm pressed down, and the surroundings were gloomy and dark, making it impossible to see the light. However, this time the sky dome was split open, and a dazzling golden light shone brighter and brighter, illuminating the entire world. Boom, boom, boom. Not good. Was it broken? The people of the sacred city were shocked. Murong Qingqing and the others revealed a faint smile. In the sky, the firmament continent was indeed pierced, and the crack was getting bigger and bigger. The remaining biting cold aura on it could not be healed in a short time. Blood dripped down from the sky. The palm was directly shattered. Was it broken? Countless screams sounded, and on the war chariot, the faces of the other three figures from the grotto heaven also changed. This was impossible. They knew LV Qingfeng's strength. How could that kid hurt LV Qingfeng? The people from the grotto heaven were not that strong. If there was no other way, then I'll send you on your way. Lin Xian's cold voice sounded. On the opposite side, endless laws filled the air, and a figure appeared. LV Qingfeng's face became extremely gloomy. He really did not expect the other party to be able to break his sky palm. Kid, don't be so smug. I guess you must have used a secret technique. How long can you last in this state? I was just careless just now. I will definitely not be injured again. And you will be trampled under my feet. The aura on LV Qingfeng's body surged more and more, and his palms kept forming seals. It seems that you are also a fire elemental martial artist. Today I will show you what a real divine fire is. Sun God Fist. A scorching hot law surged from his body and swept between heaven and earth. Then, the shadow of a sun seemed to appear behind him. It burned fiercely. The light and flames were so bright that it was impossible to open one's eyes. Oh God, Sun God Fist. Was this the grotto heaven's secret technique? The people of the sacred city screamed in horror. The people of Peerless City also changed their expressions. Oh no, they felt the terrifying aura on this superpower. Sun God Fist. Lin Xian had a strange expression on his face. It was very similar to his Nine Sons' divine fist. It was also incomparably violent and scorching hot. His opponent actually knew such a divine ability as well? He had to admit that this was beyond his expectations. Was this the strength of a grotto heaven? No wonder he dared to say that he was above the holy city. He sneered. The 9-yang divine fire on Lin Xian's body jumped. Very well, let's see if your Sun God Fist is stronger or if my 9-yang divine fist is stronger. Divine fire and precepts bloomed with radiance. The 9-yang divine body was displayed to the extreme. Lin Xian was like a golden god of war, illuminating the world. It was useless. How could a firefly compete with the bright moon? In the sky, Lu Qingfeng sneered. He waved his fist and smashed down with a sun. Boundless sunlight shone down, piercing through heaven and earth. It was so strong that it had even surpassed the limit of a little saint. Below, Lin Xian was also brandishing his fists. His fists were wide open and had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. Boom. Their divine abilities finally collided in the sky. Both of them had the power of the purest yang. The sky was torn into pieces like a painting. Endless space cracks danced wildly between heaven and earth. Those people in the distance all retreated. They raised their heads, their faces full of shock. Was it really just a fight between two young little saints? They were afraid that even the top little saints of the older generation would die without a doubt. Boom, boom. In just a blink of an eye, after the first exchange, the two collided thousands of times. The sky was completely destroyed. Their strength was too strong and their speed was very fast. Both of them were evenly matched. The people of Great Sage City were shocked. It was really unbelievable that there was someone among the young people who could get close to Lin Wudi. The Sun God Fist was indeed terrifying. On the other side, on the war chariot, the three people of the grotto heaven were also shocked. This was impossible. As soon as they used the divine abilities of the grotto heaven, they could easily beat the people of the astral boundary. However, he found that Lu Qingfeng couldn't do anything to the other party at all. Damn it, this kid has already grown to such a level? The Saint Venerables of Great Sage City looked gloomy. Even the three kings of the Great Sage had a trace of killing intent in their eyes. If this guy is not eliminated, he will be a big trouble in the future. In addition, on the side of Wushuang City, Fu Hongya looked at this scene and laughed. Junior brother Lin's strength is much stronger than the last time I saw him. It seems that he has been advancing by leaps and bounds these days. At this rate, it's hard to say who will win and who will lose. The elders of Wuxia City were also a little worried. Not bad, I didn't expect your sun god fist to be so powerful. There are not many who can fight with me in close combat. Lin Xian said with a smile while waving his fist. On the other side, Lu Qingfeng was really mad. Did he need the other party's approval? What a joke. Kid, don't be so arrogant. The effect of your drug has arrived. You can't be so strong forever. However, after exchanging more than 10,000 moves, he found that it was useless. His opponent was still incomparably strong. Damn it. The sun shines in the sky. He soared into the air and activated his ultimate skill. The phantom of the sun behind him suddenly erupted with light and became incomparably bright. Ah, my eyes. Some of the people of Wuxia City below screamed miserably, their eyes bleeding. The others also had their eyes injured. Damn it. Obviously, the other party had activated a divine ability. This was not an ordinary light. It was a light that could interfere with one's vision. Even holy venerables had to temporarily avoid the light at this moment. Only holy kings were unaffected. Lin Xian also closed his eyes. Ah, die. Seeing this scene, Lu Qingfeng laughed sinisterly. His fists were like two small suns as they ruthlessly smashed onto Lin Xian's body. With a bang, heaven and earth exploded. It was over. On the side of the great sage city, some of the top holy venerables revealed smiles. They were powerful and could see through the light. At this moment they saw Lin Xian being hit by such a terrifying attack. Even if he did not die, he would be seriously injured. Really? That's great. The people of the great sage city still had their eyes closed. However, when they heard their elders say that, they knew that this battle was over. It can't be, right? Did Lin Xian lose? The people of Wuxia City were shocked. Wuxia Holy King smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's not over yet." As his voice fell between heaven and earth, a ray of light streaked across. Lin Xian appeared in another place. His strength is not bad, but it's not possible to kill me. What? He didn't die. He dodged it. Lu Qingfeng was stunned. The smile on his face was firm. On the war chariot, the three geniuses of the Grotto Heaven also screamed. Impossible. Chapter 41-51. Next, have a taste of my fist. 9 suns open the sky. Lin Xian roared angrily. He waved his right fist and punched out. Turning into a stream of light, he tore open the void that was all over the sky. In an instant he arrived in front of the other party and punched him. Boom. The sound of the ground shaking could be heard and the entire world shook. Under everyone's shocked gaze, a figure was sent flying backward. Endless cracks appeared on LV Qingfeng's body. His arms became twisted and were directly broken. Not only that, as he was retreating, he exploded and turned into a bloody mist. Ah! A miserable cry was heard and everyone could not believe it. Injured, LV Qingfeng was actually injured. That was someone from the Grotto Heaven. The 3 young men on the war chariot should have screamed. They seemed to be having a nightmare. What kind of fist technique did the other party use? Bus. Lin Xian stomped his foot and charged out again. He waved the 9 suns divine fist again. This time he punched out millions of fist shadows and enveloped the other party. Boom, boom, boom. LV Qingfeng was blasted into the ground. The ground sank and shattered, forming a bottomless pit. The people of the great sage city were staring with their eyes wide open. Did he kill him directly? This kid killed someone from the Grotto Heaven. They could not believe it. The people of Peerless City were also stunned. It was not a problem to defeat the Grotto Heaven, but to kill the Grotto Heaven? There would probably be a storm coming. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It should be settled, right? However, when he wanted to turn around and leave, he frowned slightly. In the next moment he turned his head. Golden light bloomed in his eyes as he stared at the abyss below. He's not dead yet? The 3rd king of the great sage also snorted coldly, and his gloomy expression eased a little. A ferocious voice sounded between heaven and earth. Kid, you're the first to force me to this point. I've decided that I won't kill you. I'll capture you and bring you back. I'll torture you every moment. Along with those vicious words, an endless storm blew in the abyss below. The bright laws illuminated the world. LV Qingfeng flew out. He was in an abnormally sorry state. His body was in tatters and covered in blood. However, at this moment he was rapidly recovering. There were 16 dark cyan pillars around him. Great Tao was carved on it, and it was exceptionally terrifying. The 16 wind demon pillars joined together to form an absolute defense. Thinking about it, the 9 suns divine fist was blocked by this thing before. He had even used the wind demon clan? On the war chariot, the people of the paradise were shocked beyond words. Had LV Qingfeng been forced to this point? They found it hard to imagine. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and sized up the wind demon pillar. Then he shook his head slightly. You really don't have a good memory. Although you managed to escape with your life just now, you're already at death's door. Do you think you can still pose a threat to me? Now you still dare to say such harsh words. Aren't you afraid that I'll really kill you? Lin Xian's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Eee. Ah. LV Qingfeng sneered at first, then he looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. In the next moment, the power in his body erupted once again. He was even more powerful than before. This scene shocked countless people. What's going on? Did he break through? The elders of Wuxia City were stunned. Linghu Chueshue and the rest were also frowning. Could it be that at the moment of death, he had broken and then stood up again? Damn, what a tough bone. The dark red divine dragon and the rest were also gritting their teeth. The people of Great Sage City were also in an uproar. The peerless Sage King snorted coldly. Breaking and then standing up again? They thought too highly of him. He had only swallowed some pills. He had only used some secret techniques. It was not elegant. So it was because he had swallowed some pills. The people of Wuxia City heaved a sigh of relief. However, Murong Qingqing was still nervous. Although it was not a breakthrough, his strength had obviously increased. She whispered to herself. Brother Xian should be fine. She guessed that Lin Xian should be holding back. After all, he had only used his divine body so far. With Lin Xian's means, he still had many trump cards that he had not used. Hence, Murong Qingqing was not particularly worried. LV Qingfeng did not know. He thought that this was Lin Xian's limit. Hence he said, Kid, you can go to hell now. Demonic wind steel. LV Qingfeng's palms kept forming seals. His devilish smile was still stained with blood. As his bloodline was activated, the 16 demonic wind pillars kept moving. Then they turned into 16 demonic wind steels and pressed down on Lin Xian. It was as if they wanted to completely suppress Lin Xian. Sensing the power in the sky, Lin Xian furrowed his brows. His opponent's strength had become stronger than before. It seemed that he had used some tricks. What a troublesome guy. He snorted coldly and used his fists and legs again. Relying on the power of his divine body, he resisted. Heaven and earth exploded. The 6 demonic wind steels kept shaking. However, it did not stop them from coming over. They were still charging towards Lin Xian. Buzz. Lin Xian used the divine body of 9 yang and shot out 36 golden crows. They rushed between heaven and earth to resist the 16 demonic wind pillars. Boom, 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 boom. Those golden crows were each bigger than a mountain. They spread out their wings with endless power. Those demonic wind pillars were blocked. Great. The dark red divine dragon and the others heaved a sigh of relief. The 3 people from the Great Sage City were shocked. LV Qingfeng was the same. Damn it, you still have the possibility of increasing your strength. Could it be that you have not used your full strength? Haha, I will finish you off directly this time. He was furious. After fighting for so long, he still could not take down his opponent. Instead, he was in an extremely sorry state. He wanted to kill him. Go to hell. Demonic Wind Quartet. LV Qingfeng roared crazily. His bloodline was surging violently, and some of his bloodlines were even tearing apart. His hands were a blur. However, one imprint after another was pressed into the void. The 16 demonic wind pillars kept shaking. They were connected and made cracking sounds. Those cracking sounds were very rhythmic. It was like the sound of the ancient heavens. Not good retreat. Countless sacred venerables screamed. It was obviously a killing move. With the power of the 16 demonic wind pillars and the mysterious rhythm, it was enough to destroy everything. No way he actually used such a thing. The expressions of the 3 people on the war chariot changed drastically. That was a forbidden bloodline. Once he used it, he would probably not be able to use the power of his bloodline for 10 years. Moreover, LV Qingfeng would also be seriously injured. He was going all out. However, they soon smiled. This way the other party would definitely die. It could be considered as revenge. Boom, boom. The sound of the 16 demonic wind steels shattering one after another formed a demonic sound that directly enveloped Lin Xian. Chapter 4152. It can't be, right? Is that kid all right? The dark red divine dragon and the others were extremely nervous. Fu Hongye and the other elders from Wuxia City also had their hearts in their mouths. The 3rd Great Sage City was cheering. Among them, the desolate Heaven Sage King walked out and said, "All right, this battle is over. Let's see who wins. Next, it's time for us to choose the treasure land." Damn it. The people of Wuxia City looked gloomy. Did they lose? Moreover, Lin Xian's life might be in danger. The Wuxia Sage King laughed. Aren't you being too impatient? Who told you that the battle is over? What? Do you think that kid can turn the tables around? The soaring Sage King shook his head. Can't you just stop dreaming? Can't you see for yourselves whether you're dreaming or not? The Wuxia Sage King harumphed coldly. Have you all lost your senses? Can't you see? The third great Sage King's face turned gloomy upon hearing this. Could it be that the kid could turn the tables around? To be honest, they didn't check it out because they thought that a minor saint couldn't withstand such a destructive attack. But now, no matter what the Wuxia Sage King said, they all looked over. Their eyes were filled with awe as if they could see through everything. The third great Sage King didn't believe it at first, but after looking at it, they were stunned and their faces turned ugly. What's going on? The surrounding people were shocked. Could it be that the kid didn't die? Impossible. The three of them shook their heads frantically. How could he not die after being hit by the fourfold tune of the Wind Devil? His soul would definitely scatter. Whoosh. The energy between heaven and earth slowly dissipated, and the storm gradually calmed down. Everyone stretched their necks and looked carefully. They saw a black and white light floating in the broken void. The smile on Lu Qingfeng's face froze again. His eyes widened. How could it be? There's still something here? What's that? He waved his hand and tore the void apart. The storm that filled the sky also disappeared. Everyone could finally see it clearly. It was a yin-yang image that kept spinning. There's a person in it. Is that Lin Wudi? Everyone screamed. They discovered that this was indeed the case. Lin Xian's Taiji diagram had blocked that world-destroying attack. He's fine, he's really fine. Countless people screamed. The third great Sage King's face turned ugly. Lu Qingfeng gritted his teeth. This was impossible. He had expended a great deal of his bloodline, so much so that he would not be able to use it again for the next 10 years. Logically speaking, none of the little saints had survived. He was even confident that he could use this move to fight against holy sovereigns. Since the other party was only a mid-minor saint, he would definitely die. But now the other party had survived and was only slightly injured. This was completely different from what he had imagined. What was that? A yin-yang diagram? I felt the power of yin and yang. Several holy venerates felt incredibly shocked. Even the three great Sage Kings had a cold expression on their faces. The power of yin and yang was the source of power between heaven and earth. Very few people could directly control this source of power. But this kid in front of him seemed to have done it. Could it be that he had a special cultivation method? Damn it, they had only heard of this kind of power. According to the legends, the yin-yang sect was able to do it. But they had never seen it before. Now, the other party could actually use it, which made them jealous. His killing intent became even more intense. Lin Xian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. To be honest, the demon sealing quartet was indeed very terrifying. Could destroy everything. This was the power of a forbidden art. But fortunately, he had the Tai Chi art. At the critical moment, the power of yin and yang merged to form the Tai Chi art, directly blocking the attack. This should be your strongest ability, right? But it still can't kill me. So this battle is over. Lin Xian's voice was ice cold. The others were also in despair. They could see that Lu Qingfeng basically did not have much power left after using the demon sealing quartet. How could they continue to fight? Then would they let Wuxia City win this battle again? Damn it, they could not accept it. Lu Qingfeng gritted his teeth. He took out a pill and swallowed it with great difficulty. At the next moment he said coldly, I don't have much power left, but it doesn't mean that I can't kill you. To be able to defeat me to this extent, you can die with pride. A trace of madness appeared in his eyes, and a small black sword flew out. As soon as it appeared, a terrifying aura swept through the world. What was that? What a terrifying aura. Did he still have a trump card? The people of St. Cheng screamed. The people of Wuxia City also changed their expressions. It must be the sun-level St. Chi. He actually carried such a thing with him. This was troublesome. It was that thing. Murong Qingqing and the others also changed their expressions. When he used the apocalyptic storm, they blocked it. The other party also blocked it. Back then, the other party used that small black sword to block it. Now it seemed that the other party was finally going to use his ultimate killing weapon. This sword was called the Black Sky Sword. Lu Qingfeng's voice rang out. This is made with the rare black demon gold and the starry sky as the main material. Moreover, after 3,000 years of tempering, it was only forged at night and rested during the day. It was never used. After 3,000 years of darkness, the Black Sky Sword was finally forged successfully. Its power is definitely not something you can imagine. Kid, what do you have to fight me? Lu Qingfeng smiled. This was his final trump card, which could kill the other party. He didn't want to use this thing because such a precious saint artifact was not something he could own. This time, the Grotto Heaven gave it to him as a life-saving measure. He wouldn't use it unless it was a last resort. But now this was his last chance. He was going to use the Black Sky Sword to kill the other party. But after swallowing a large number of pills, Lu Qingfeng's body recovered its strength. He reached out and grabbed the small black sword. The sword trembled and a terrifying power burst out. The surroundings instantly became dark. It was different from the darkness caused by Linghu Chueshua before. It robbed one's vision. Now it was real. The sky was dyed black. Boom. Crack. The black sky rumbled, and there seemed to be a terrifying sword shadow circling there. Black sky slash. Lu Qingfeng roared and activated the black sky sword with all his strength. The black sky suddenly rotated and turned into a giant black sword, slashing down from the sky. Boom. Heaven and earth shattered again. This attack was even more terrifying than the Wind Demon's fourth revival. Lin Xian shot out countless golden crows, which spun between heaven and earth to contend with it. At the same time, the Taiji diagram kept erupting, shooting out yin and yang sword chi, which rampaged between heaven and earth. It collided with the black sword shadow. It's useless. The black sky sword is not something you can resist. The black sky sword fell, destroying everything. The golden crows were torn apart, and the sword chi was also bounced away. Chapter 4153. It was too strong. The people of the great sage city were trembling. Those Saint Venerable's eyes were red. If only they had such a weapon. Their eyes were burning. Wushuang City's side was filled with exclamations. Damn it, had the upper hand disappeared again? The dark red divine dragon and the others were indeed laughing. Competing with them with saint weapons? What a joke, will torture you to death. Kid, quickly use your trump card. Take out the great sage pagoda and smash him to death. Use the great spear of destruction to pierce him to death. The two toads were making a big fuss. Murong Qingqing also revealed a smile. She knew that the outcome of this battle had been decided. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Black Sky Sword? It was indeed powerful. The previous attack was, of course, to test the power of the saint weapon. Now he had already deduced that it was very strong. It was a Sun-class divine weapon, but it had not reached the level of a Saint King's weapon. Since the other party was courting death, he would fulfill his wish. He was prepared to use the great spear of destruction. With a cold snort, a black spear slowly appeared in Lin Xian's hand. The demonic aura on it swept through the 9 heavens. At this moment, the world was dark and gloomy. Violent sword energy flickered. Everyone retreated into the distance, trembling. They deduced that Lin Xian was dead for sure. At this moment, many people screamed. What kind of aura was this? They felt that there was an even more terrifying power erupting above the 9 heavens. It was even more terrifying than the Black Sky Sword from before. Could it be that the power of the Black Sky Sword had increased? Countless people screamed. There was no suspense about the outcome of the battle. In the sky, Lu Qingfeng was so scared that his hair stood on end. What was going on? His body began to tremble. He originally thought that the other party was dead for sure. However, a black spear appeared in the other party's hand. The aura emitted from it terrified him. Even the Black Sky Sword was trembling slightly as if it was suppressed. Impossible. The Black Sky Sword was already very terrifying. It was a Sun-class divine weapon that only peak Saint Venerables were qualified to use. However, it was trembling at this moment. Damn it, what was in the other party's hand? Could it be a divine weapon that surpassed the Saint Venerables? Was it a Saint King's weapon? He did not dare to imagine. Do you think you can act all high and mighty just because you're from the heavenly abode? Do you think that we are ants just because your grotto heavens are powerful? Today I'll let you see my foundation. Lin Xian gripped the spear of great destruction and fiercely swung it forward. Boundless demonic energy erupted, destroying everything in its path. Boom. Heaven and earth were completely blown apart. A terrifying storm swept out, making the surrounding people unable to investigate at all. Even those Saint Venerables could not use their souls to watch the battle. They had no choice but to wait. The Great Destruction Spear. Just from its name, one could tell that it carried an extremely strong destructive power. Everything in its path was reduced to ashes. The smiles that originally hung on the faces of the 3 great sage kings suddenly disappeared. No, this aura. They could sense that the aura of the Black Heaven Sword was disappearing, and LV Qingfeng's aura was becoming faintly discernible. What's going on? They opened their eyes and their gazes penetrated everything once again. Damn it, what is that thing? That's not the power of the Black Heaven Sword. The third great sage king was shocked once again. When they wanted to take a closer look, they realized that the thing had already disappeared. The sky was torn apart, and a figure slid down and arrived beside Peerless Saint King. Lin Xian said, "Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. I won this battle." The surrounding people were all stunned. The people of the third great sage city could not believe it. Wasn't it supposed to be an earth-shattering battle? Wasn't Lin Wudi going to die for sure? Why did he come down now? Where's LV Qingfeng? The three people from the Grotto Heavens were also dumbfounded. What was going on with the Saint King? At this moment, everyone was stunned. The soaring Saint King waved his hand, and a piercing green saber light streaked across the sky, directly cutting the storm apart. The silver corpse Saint King shot out a yellow springs diagram, wrapped the broken corpse and brought it down. He sighed. He was dead. His heart and soul were destroyed and he could no longer be revived. Dead. Everyone was stunned. That was LV Qingfeng's corpse. Was LV Qingfeng dead? What was going on? None of this was real. The three people from the Grotto Heavens went crazy. Didn't LV Qingfeng take out the Black Sky Sword? Didn't he win? Why was LV Qingfeng dead now? Was that kid fine? Damn it, where was the Black Sky Sword? What happened? Buzz. In the sky, a small black sword fell down. It was the Black Sky Sword. Many people's eyes turned red when they saw this scene. Some people even reached out their hands to grab it. However, they did not succeed. The Black Sky Sword first flew to LV Qingfeng's corpse, circled around it, and then flew directly to the war chariot. It fell into the hands of the green-clothed woman in the Grotto Heavens. Many sacred venerables sighed. This weapon was second only to the Saint King's weapon. If they could obtain it, their strength would change dramatically. In the future, it might even evolve into a Saint King's weapon. However, this sword had spirituality. If they tried to snatch it, they would probably trigger the weapon spirit inside and it would explode with power. The soaring sky Saint King looked at the green-clothed woman beside him, and a light flashed in his eyes. If this thing was given to him, he was confident that within 1,000 years, he would be able to evolve heaven into a Saint King's weapon. The other two great sage kings also had the same thought. This was an incredible treasure. If they nurtured it well, it could greatly increase the strength of their holy city. However, the three of them did not make a move immediately. No matter what, it was still an item from the Grotto Heavens. The green-clothed woman had gone completely crazy. Even now, they did not understand why LV Qingfeng was the one who died. What was going on? Senior Sage King, can you tell me what happened? Did that brat use some nefarious means? The three Grotto Heavens looked at the soaring sky Saint King. The soaring sky Saint King frowned. He suddenly remembered that Lin Xian seemed to have used something. The power of that thing was even more terrifying than the Black Sky Sword's aura. Could it be a Saint King's weapon? Did that kid have a Saint King's weapon? What did you use just now? The soaring sky Saint King asked coldly. The other two great sage kings also looked over and stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian said, "There's no need for me to tell you, right? Kid, you better understand who you're talking to." The desolate sky Saint King was extremely unhappy. So what if Lin Xian won? Did a small ant dare to be impudent in front of them? The aura of a Saint King spread out, and Lin Xian's face instantly turned pale. The peerless Saint King waved his hand, and a black vortex swallowed the aura. He then said, "Do you think I don't exist? I can tell you that what you guessed was right. That is indeed a Saint King's weapon, and I gave it to him." Chapter 4154. Damn it, it was indeed the peerless Sage King. The third great Sage King's face turned cold. They did not expect the peerless Sage King to be so powerful. Other than the peerless sword, there were other Sage King weapons that they did not know about. From the beginning to the end, they did not think that it was Lin Xian's. Because in their opinion, it was impossible for a minor sage to own such an item. Alright, we've won the second battle again. Then wouldn't it be our turn to choose a treasure land next? The peerless Sage King's voice rang out. The surrounding people were so angry that they vomited blood. Damn it, damn it. They swore that they would not lose the next two battles, but now they lost the second battle again. Yes, we will choose the mysterious valley for the second battle. The peerless Sage King said quickly. Then he created another clone and brought Lin Xian and the rest to the mysterious valley. Damn it. The third great Sage King's eyes turned red. They even decided to fight. Otherwise they would not get any benefits. The Peerless Sage King snorted. What, you want to fight? We have 2 sage artifacts here. Think carefully. Damn it. The third great Sage King's face turned ugly. Indeed, if it was before, they might have really fought. After all, although the 3 of them could not kill the Peerless Sage King, it was very possible for them to suppress him temporarily and snatch the treasure. But it was different now. If the opponent had 2 sage artifacts in his hands, it would be very difficult to suppress the Peerless Sage King. The Peerless Sage King scared the people opposite him. His clone brought Lin Xian and the rest to the mysterious valley. However, they did not enter rashly. Instead, they went around the valley to investigate. This place was too unusual. The Peerless Sage King was speechless. Linghu Chueshua was surprised. Master, what was so special about this place? Fu Hongya was also surprised. She felt an indescribable aura. Lin Xian and the rest were the same. The toad said, why should I care so much? Let's go down and try. He jumped down. Soon he came back screaming. Damn it, there was a formation. When he came out, he was foaming at the mouth and looked like he was about to die. You deserve it. Who told you to move? Lin Xian rolled his eyes. Peerless Saint King was surprised. This toad was not ordinary. Don't make any rash moves. There's a formation protecting it. Let's see how we can break it. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were also observing carefully. Both of them were experts in formations. After looking around 3 times, the 2 of them gathered together. Kid, do you have any ideas? The dark red divine dragon asked. Lin Xian said that there was a way, but it would take too long. I still have a way. I need to borrow the power of a Saint King. Moreover, there are so many experts here. I can use brute force. The dark red divine dragon said. Lin Xian and the others have returned. Holy King, the 2 of us have taken a look. We have a plan, but we need your help. I got it. Peerless Holy King nodded. His real body also stood up, turned into a stream of light, and arrived above the mysterious valley. At the same time, he created a huge vortex that swallowed everything. What the hell? The 3 great Sage Kings outside frowned when they saw this. The law of devour prevented them from seeing what was happening inside. Inside, Peerless Holy King created another small vortex that floated above everyone's heads. He said, put your power into the vortex and I will be able to control it. As expected, Linghu Chueshue, Murong Qingqing, and the others injected their power into the vortex. Peerless Holy King came behind Lin Xian. He said telepathically, Junior brother, use your trump card. Lin Xian summoned the great dragon sword soul, and a loud dragon roar could be heard. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul had become stronger after absorbing Lei Jishan's power. However, with Lin Xian's strength, it was still impossible to break the formation below. However, with Peerless Holy King and the combined power of so many Saint Venerables, it was impossible. It was not impossible. As expected, Lin Xian held the great dragon sword soul, and Peerless Holy King also channeled his power into the great dragon sword soul. In the next moment, the dragon roar resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The sword slashed down. With a loud boom, the sky fell and the earth cracked. It was as if there was an apocalypse. What a terrifying aura. Are they trying to break the formation? In the distance, the people from the 3 great sage cities were also shocked. The 3 great Sage Kings frowned. Their gazes seemed to be able to pierce through the heavens and the earth. Damn it, the law of devour is too strange. Unless we go in, we won't be able to find anything. While they are breaking the formation, let's look for other places. These people also started to move. After all, they had lost 2 rounds and could not find anything. They were not willing to give up. Therefore, the people from the 3 great sage cities began to search everywhere. On the other side, above the mysterious valley, the terrifying vortex slowly disappeared. In the next moment, they all entered the mysterious valley. Did they enter? The Saint Venerables from Peerless City were shocked. Previously, they had felt the damage caused by the seal. They did not expect that they could enter so easily. Peerless Saint King took a deep breath. He knew how much power he had to use this time. This was the power of the great dragon sword soul. It was indeed the legendary sword soul. He realized that even he could not completely revive the great dragon sword soul. However, compared to what Lin Xian was able to cast, it was far more powerful. Therefore, the seal was broken by the sword. After entering, everyone looked around curiously. The valley looked mysterious from the outside, but after entering they realized that it was like a paradise. The aura of heaven and earth was so pure. Murong Qingqing's eyes lit up. They all felt that the aura here was very pure, as if it was incompatible with the outside world. Sage King, the people from the 3 great sage cities began to leave and go to other places. An elder frowned. Peerless Sage King looked into the distance and said, "Don't worry about them. Let them search. Otherwise they would not be at ease." Indeed, they had already occupied 2 of the 3 treasure lands. To be exact, they had already occupied the 3rd one. Other than these 3 treasure lands, the treasures in the other places were not as good as here. There was another reason why they did not care. It was to distract them. Otherwise, the 3 great sage cities would definitely take action if they could not get anything. Peerless Sage King sensed carefully and smiled. He said, "This is a good place. Hurry up and absorb the energy here." "Master, what's so magical about this place?" Fu Hongya was also puzzled. Peerless Sage King smiled and said, "If I'm not wrong, the aura here is very pure. It's the primordial aura of heaven and earth. It can change a person's life." Chapter 41-55. Changing one's life level. Many people were shocked. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. How could this valley have such an effect? Life level was a very special thing. For example, Lin Xian was a mid-stage minor saint. His life level was at the minor saint level. However, his soul level was higher and should have reached the level of a saint venerable. Moreover, he had a divine body. His physique was much stronger than an ordinary minor saint. It could be said that Lin Xian's life level was far beyond the minor saint level. It was almost the same as a saint venerable. As one's cultivation level increased, one's life level would also increase. However, there would always be a limit to it. For example, if a water tank was only 1 meter long, it could only hold a certain amount of water. Any more and the water would flow out. This was the height of life level. It could turn a 1-meter water tank into a 5-meter or 2-meter water tank. To people this was very shocking and precious. It could increase the upper limit of these people. For example, if a person's life was only at the level of a saint venerable, it would be very difficult for him to break through the shackles of a saint venerable. If one's life level was changed, there would be hope. This was the great opportunity that the bronze messenger had mentioned earlier. It could change one's life. Therefore, everyone in the valley was excited. They knew that they had encountered a great opportunity that was hard to come by in thousands or even tens of thousands of years. They could change their lives. These people were extremely excited. Peerless Saint King also smiled. He said that they were very lucky. This was left behind 80,000 years ago. Although there were people who came in during this period, it seemed that no one had come in for the past 10,000 years. This is the first time in 10,000 years that we have come in. There is a lot of chi in here. Let's quickly absorb it. After saying that, he couldn't wait any longer. Lin Xian and the others began to cultivate in the valley. As for the people from the other 3 great sage cities, they began to rush in crazily. Some of them rushed to Thunder Rolling Mountain while others rushed to Dragon Tiger Mountain. After all, these 2 places were treasured lands. However, they found that these 2 places were very mysterious. The dragon and tiger on Dragon Tiger Mountain brought great pressure. Even the Saint King had to be careful. On the other hand, Thunder Rolling Mountain seemed to have been sealed off. It was probably because Lin Xian had swallowed too much and could not enter. This made them gnash their teeth in anger. There were even people who had designs on the mysterious valley. However, when they got close, they realized that the seal here was extremely difficult to break. It was impossible to break it in a short period of time. If the 3 great sage kings were to join forces, the unparalleled sage king inside would definitely not let them off so easily. Hence, they did not make a move on this place for the time being. Their target was Mount Longhu. The 3 great sage kings joined forces to explore Mount Longhu, while the other sages spread out to different parts of the world and began to collect their own fortunes. At the same time, in the 2nd astral realm on planet Tianming. This was the place where one's fate was measured. It opened once every 500 years and it had long been closed. However, in the depths of Destiny Planet, the bronze envoy opened his eyes and looked at the Destiny Stone with shock. Someone was changing fate. In the past, many peerless geniuses had come here to test their fates. Therefore, in the future, if someone encountered a great opportunity and changed their fate, it would cause a commotion. Now the same thing was happening. He frowned, wondering who it was that had obtained such a heaven-defying opportunity. Suddenly, his expression became extremely ugly because blood was flowing out of the Heaven's Mandate Stone again. Damn it, the sky was dyed red with blood. He was abandoned by the heavens. He had encountered a peerless opportunity. It was impossible for him to change fate. The bronze envoy's expression was cold. He took out a disc array and quickly sent a message to it. It was obvious that he was already setting up a trap. At the same time, in another mysterious part of the universe, an ancient planet was also shaking. The divine Wudong steel was changing. A seven-colored stream of light flashed. It was a middle-aged woman with a pair of phoenix wings. Her expression was extremely solemn. She knelt on one knee on the ground and was extremely respectful. In front of her stood an old man. It was an old woman. Her skin was as dry as an orange peel. She also had a pair of resplendent wings on her back. A seven-colored light? The seven-colored phoenix had appeared in the end. However, she does not belong to the divine phoenix ridge and will eventually fight the heavenly phoenix. Go and find out more about her. Yes. The phoenix kneeling on the ground stood up, flapped her wings and disappeared into a stream of light. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing did not know about this. They were currently in the valley, absorbing the aura in the valley with all their might. They could feel that their bodies were changing. This change made them happy and excited. They were not the only ones. Everyone was changing. Everyone's speed of change was different. For example, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing were changing very quickly. The other person was Peerless Sacred King. He was already a Sacred King, so no one knew what level he would reach after his life rating increased. At this moment, Peerless Sacred King struck out a law and flew out of the mysterious valley. This law flew into the distance and resounded in the sky. Skysource Sacred King, what about the three of you? Listen up, if you don't fight the third round, it'll be our loss. Mount Longhu is yours. This voice resounded in the sky. Skysource Sacred King and the others were surprised when they heard this. To be honest, they already had their eyes on Mount Longhu. Furthermore, they had already thought of an excuse and were even planning to take down Mount Longhu with brute force. After all, they could not afford to lose any more. However, they did not expect that the other party would give up the third round and give it to them. Damn it, it seemed that these people had obtained some benefits in the valley. Desolate Sacred King gritted his teeth. Silver Corpse Sacred King sneered. We've seen the valley. It's not easy to enter it. Why don't we work together to take down Mount Longhu? It's definitely not ordinary. The three great sage Sacred Kings discussed and decided to work together to take down Mount Longhu. The other powerful sacred venerables were also summoned by them. Their auras became extremely solemn for a moment. The three from the grotto heaven retreated far away. To be honest, they were not in the mood to search for treasures because they were in a very dangerous situation. LV Qingfeng was already dead. Furthermore, they realized that there were many people around them who were constantly looking at them. It seemed that they were after the Black Sky Sword. This made them very nervous. Damn it, these people won't do anything, right? What if they kill us? They did not dare to think about it anymore. They really hoped that Mount Longhu could attract everyone's attention. Boom. On Mount Longhu, everyone had already reached the peak. With the three great sage Sacred Kings working together, their speed was extremely fast. Chapter 4156. Boom. Soaring Sage King made his move. His arms turned into two beams of green light that tore through heaven and earth as they slashed forward. Boom. From the looks of it, he wanted to split open Mount Longhu and force his way in. Brr. Brr. Mount Longhu shook violently as the roar of a dragon and tiger resounded. The phantoms of a dragon and tiger appeared. They roared at the sky and a powerful force rushed out. The experts of the three great sage city gasped when they saw this. Even the three great Saint Kings' expressions were incomparably solemn. They felt a sense of danger. It was unbelievable that Mount Longhu could threaten them. Soaring Sky Sacred King's two beams of light were shattered by the dragon and tiger phantoms. His face was cold as he looked to the sides. Are the two of you still not going to make a move? Boom. Boom boom boom. Desolate Sage King and Silver Corpse Sage King also made their move. Terrifying nomological abilities covered the sky as they charged forward. One had to admit that the three great holy kings were really too powerful. Each of them was like a god that made people tremble. Mount Longhu was completely enveloped by their power. It felt like the end of the world. But at this moment, a beam of light tore through the void and shattered all the abilities. The sages screamed crazily. The three great sage kings also swayed and retreated. The red beam of light landed and destroyed the place where they were standing. Everyone felt a chill. They could see that the tail of a dragon was too strong. Buzz. At this moment, a huge beast claw slapped over. It was too strong. Silver Corpse Sage King roared. He used the Yellow Springs diagram to resist, but he was soon pushed back. Impossible. The people of the sacred city were stunned. Heavens, what kind of power was this? One had to know that Sage Kings represented the strongest power in the second astral realm. But at this moment they couldn't do anything to a mountain. Silver Corpse Sage King's arm went numb. His face turned cold. "You're courting death." With a roar he made his move. He took out the gourd and the Yellow Springs diagram. This gourd was called the Yellow Springs gourd. It had appeared more than once. Emoshio had one before, but this gourd was much stronger than the one he had. Because this was a true Saint King weapon. Soaring Sky Saint King took out a pair of sabers. Those two sabers were green and abnormally terrifying. This was his true body. He was a flying mantis, so his true body was exceptionally sharp. It was much stronger than ordinary sacred artifacts. At the same time, a pair of almost transparent wings grew out of his back, causing his speed to reach the extreme. Not only that, but a battle robe also appeared on his body. The battle robe was a Saint King level weapon, and its defense was extremely powerful. The Desolate Heaven Sage King used the Desolate Summon and instantly summoned a human figure. Although there was only one person, this person's aura was really too terrifying. It did not feel any weaker than the Sage King's aura. Kill. The third king of the Great Sage made his move and engaged in a fierce battle with Mount Longhu. A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering power erupted. Retreat quickly. Those holy venerates originally wanted to help. However, at this moment they were unable to do anything. This power could probably tear them to shreds in an instant. This was a battle between Saint Kings and they could only watch. Therefore these people floated down Mount Longhu and watched from afar. The battle here had alarmed the entire world. Even the people in the mysterious valley could feel it. Many people opened their eyes and looked into the distance. That direction was the direction of Mount Longhu. It seemed that they were indeed attacking Mount Longhu. Lili also opened his eyes, and a hint of worry appeared in his eyes. After all, it was three great Sage Kings working together. He did not know if Mount Longhu could withstand it. Then he shook his head. So what if they could? So what if they could not? With his current strength he could not face a Sage King at all. Therefore, the most important thing for him now was to absorb the power of the valley with all his might to improve his life level. Thinking of this, he closed his eyes again. He formed a seal with his palm and absorbed with all his might. The others did the same. Time slowly passed. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. On this day Lin Xian and the others opened their eyes. This was because the pure power in the mysterious valley had been completely absorbed by them. They stood up with surprised expressions on their faces. Great, it really improved. My upper limit has increased. Some of the elders were so excited that they were about to cry. They were already quite old. They did not have much lifespan left. It was originally very difficult to improve, but at this moment they saw hope. Fu Hongye was even more ecstatic. It really improved. I seem to have changed my fate. Is that true? Many people looked over. Fu Hongye nodded. When I was tested on Planet Destiny, my destiny was a Sage King. Now I feel like I can break through and become a great sage. That's great. The elders were excited. Peerless Sage King also smiled. Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing and the others were shocked. This should be a heaven-defying opportunity. Logically speaking, once one's destiny was determined, it would be very difficult to change it. Ordinary opportunities would not work at all, unless it was something like this, which would not happen in 10,000 years. Linghu Chueshue also nodded. My destiny has improved. I can become a great sage. That's great. If there are no accidents, it means that Fu Hongye and Linghu Chueshue will become 2 great sage in the future. This was really shocking. What about their Sage King? Many people looked at Peerless Sage King. Peerless Sage King's smile was very bright, but he did not say how much he had changed. However, everyone knew that Peerless Sage King's change must be very big. His upper limit might be even higher. Peerless Sage King looked at Lin Xian and asked, "How do you feel?" The others also looked at him. That's right. Their junior brother was a destiny. It was even more terrifying. Legend had it that he had reached the Heaven Illuminator realm. There was also a saying that heaven and earth did not tolerate it. They wondered how far he would go with this change. Seeing so many people looking at him with concern, Lin Xian smiled and said, "Don't look at me like that. I don't know either. I can only feel that it is indeed helpful to me. However, it's hard to say exactly how far." Indeed, no one knew what the Heaven Illuminator realm was. However, Lin Xian could feel that when he was cultivating, the blood in the heavens seemed to have decreased. In other words, the power that heaven and earth did not tolerate had weakened. If this news were to spread, it would definitely shock the universe. Everyone was surprised, but Peerless Sage King seemed to know something. He pondered for a moment and then said, "As long as you live well, your future achievements will definitely be shocking. However, when you leave this world you should keep a low profile. Why don't you go into seclusion in Wuxia City for a while and lie low? Lie low because of the 3 great sage cities? Everyone was surprised. Chapter 4157. Alright, it was time to get out. Since they could no longer cultivate here, they rose into the air and left the mysterious valley. It was extremely difficult to enter the valley, but it was extremely easy to leave. It seemed to be a one-way formation and it would not stop them from leaving. Hence they came out easily. When they came out, they were shocked to find that the 3 great sage cities were still attacking Dragon Tiger Mountain. The peerless city elder's mouth twitched. It had been 3 years, and the 3 great sage kings still had not succeeded? Heavens, what was in Dragon Tiger Mountain? What the peerless sage king said was normal. Without special means they might not be able to conquer the valley in 3 years. He was right. They were able to do it so quickly because of the power of the great dragon sword soul. Otherwise they would not be able to enter the valley. On the other hand, Dragon Tiger Mountain was even more mysterious. It required a special bloodline and soul to enter. The 3 great sage kings obviously did not think that it would be difficult to attack by force. At this moment, the people from the 3 holy cities also turned their heads around and cried out in alarm. It was the people from Peerless City. Did they come out? Hearing this, the 3 sage kings also turned their gazes. Wuxia, what was in the valley? The desolate heaven sage king asked impatiently. Damn it, the other party had already come out with the treasure, but they had not entered. This made them so angry that they almost vomited blood. The peerless sage king said that if they wanted to know, they would know once they went in. The desolate heaven sage king's face turned ugly. The silver corpse sage king beside him said that if they worked together, they would get a share of the loot. Not interested. The peerless sage king yawned. He was tired after coming out for so long. He was ready to go back. You guys can slowly attack here. Good luck. With that, he led Lin Shen and the rest out. Are these people leaving? Damn it, they must be returning with a full load. The eyes of the people from the great sage cities were red. The 3 great sage kings were also cold. They did not expect the other party to reject them. Did they not want to find out the secret of Dragon Tiger Mountain? Judging from how terrifying the mountain was, there must be some incredible secrets and treasures hidden inside. Damn it, is this fellow trying to raise the price? Soaring Sky Saint King's face turned cold. From their point of view, the other party was probably pretending to leave so that they could renegotiate and get a bigger share of Mount Longhu's treasures. However, after waiting for a long time, they found that the other party did not return. This made their faces turn green. Was the other party really going to leave? Damn it, the 3 great sage kings decided to launch another powerful attack. If it didn't work, they would give up. After all, there was no point in wasting time here. This time they attacked with all their might. Mount Longhu shook violently once again. This time the tremors were even stronger than before. Great, am I going to succeed? The people of the great sage city rejoiced. However, at this moment, a dragon and a tiger roared at the same time and shot out a world-destroying light. Retreat quickly. Everyone screamed. The 3 great sage kings were also sent flying in an instant. The saints of the holy city were also torn into a bloody mist. Many people had perished here. Run. The 3 great sage kings' eyes were red. If they did not leave now, they might lose their lives. They led the martial artists of their respective holy city and quickly fled. Take us with you. The 3 people of the grotto heaven screamed. They used the black sky sword to defend themselves. Soaring Sky Saint King sighed when he saw this. He reached out with his hand and grabbed at it. However, he was blocked by a yellow springs diagram. What is the meaning of this? He was stunned. The silver corpse saint made a move. The yellow springs gourd in his hand poured out endless yellow springs water and directly swallowed the 3 of them. The black sky sword was also swallowed. In the next moment, it turned into a stream of light and entered the yellow springs gourd. Damn it, how dare you attack? They were from the grotto heaven. Soaring Sky Saint King was stunned. The desolate Sky Saint King's expression also changed. The silver corpse Saint King chuckled. How could it be me? Didn't you see the world-destroying light erupting from Mount Longhu? They died on Mount Longhu. We have to split the spoils. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. The desolate Sky Saint King and the soaring Sky Saint King said coldly. The silver corpse Saint King said, well, the 3 of us can share the secrets of their bodies. Let's go. The 3 great sage kings formed an alliance and flew out. The 5 people from the grotto heaven were pitiful. In the end, none of them managed to escape. In fact, it was very dangerous to attack the people from the grotto heaven, but it was a good opportunity. Because of the world-destroying storm from Mount Longhu, the Black Sky Sword had no extra energy to defend against other attacks. That was why the Yellow Springs Gourd could take the opportunity to enter. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so simple. One had to admit that the power of Mount Longhu was really terrifying. The three great sage kings retreated. Even the peerless Sky Saint King and the others who had left long ago were shocked. They also felt a destructive aura. The peerless Sky Saint King created a devouring vortex and enveloped everyone. In the next moment he entered the devouring vortex and flew forward quickly. Boom! They dashed out. When they came out, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. However, the peerless Sky Saint King's face was cold. Damn it, he almost died in there at the last moment. The three great sage kings, do you want to die? Not long after, they also saw the three great sage kings coming out. However, they were all in a sorry state and had injuries on their bodies. The three great sage kings' faces were pale. It was obvious that the 3 years of continuous attacks had used up too much of their energy. In addition, they were all injured in the last attack. Fortunately, they ran quickly. Otherwise, the three great sage kings would have died in there. There were still many people waiting around. After all, they couldn't enter and wanted to see if there was anything they could get. However, when they saw the four great sage kings coming out, they were all scared away. What a joke. Even if there was a treasure, could they get it from the great sage kings? The answer was obviously impossible. They might even anger the great sage kings, so they all ran away. After the three great sage kings came out, he stared at the peerless Sky Saint King in front of him. His face was extremely cold. The peerless Sky Saint King's eyes shone with a terrifying light. He snorted coldly with a warning. The three sage kings turned their heads to look at the 9,999th gourd. They had marked this place. They were prepared to go back and study it. They wanted to join forces with more great sage kings to attack Dragon Tiger Mountain. On the other hand, the peerless Sky Saint King's group left quickly. Not long after he left, the 9,999 bottle gourds disappeared. This scene made the three great sage kings' faces turn ugly. What happened? Did they disappear? They searched frantically and realized that they had really disappeared. Chapter 4158. Damn it, Dragon Tiger Mountain was no longer fated with them. Great Sage King, what should we do? Should we go back? The surrounding sages were still fearful. They had suffered countless casualties in the past 3 years of attacking Dragon Tiger Mountain. Especially the last time, they had suffered a great loss. The third great sage king's eyes flashed with madness. Damn it. He had worked so hard for so long and had gotten nothing. How could he be satisfied? The peerless great sage king had occupied 2 treasured lands and had obtained countless treasures. It seemed like it was time to make a move. Let's go. The third great sage king immediately attacked after a discussion. They led their people and disappeared into the void. On the other side, the peerless great sage king was moving very quickly. He was afraid that the 3 great sage kings would join forces. However, he had underestimated the determination of the 3 great sage kings. He had thought that the 3 great sage kings would not catch up so quickly. Who would have thought that he would be intercepted by the 3 great sage kings? 3 dead figures appeared in front of him, followed by countless sages and sacred venerables. The aura of these people was extremely terrifying and shrouded the entire starry sky. The peerless great sage king stopped. Behind him, the elders Lin Xian and the others appeared as well. When they saw this scene, their faces darkened. Damn it, what were the 3 great sage kings trying to do? Oh, what are you trying to do by stopping me? Don't tell me you want to follow me back to Peerless City for a drink? Wuxia, don't play dumb. You have obtained so many treasures in the gourd world. Are you planning to take them all for yourself? The people of Peerless City were shocked when they heard this. As expected, these people were planning to rob them. The peerless great sage king's face darkened. They had agreed that it would be a fair duel. Who can you blame for not being as skilled as others? It's useless to say anything. We can't waste these 3 years. Take out your treasures and share them. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't end well today. The Silver Corpse Holy King's cold voice sounded. What? Are you going to fight me? The peerless great sage king exuded a terrifying murderous aura that swept across the void. The surrounding stars began to tremble and become dim and lightless. The Silver Corpse King snorted coldly. The desolate Heaven Saint King also stood out. He was talking about Wuxia alone. We have 3 people on our side. Do you want to fight us? The reason why we didn't attack you before was because we were afraid that there might be some powerful formation in that world. Once we touched it, it would be difficult for us to escape. Now that we're out, we don't have to worry about that. If you want to make a move, you can try. Peerless Saint King took a step forward, his aura exploding. Devouring precepts spread out, and the unparalleled sword floated above his body, releasing an extremely terrifying killing intent. Yes, there are 3 of you, but so what? For the past 3 years, you have been attacking continuously. Your strength has long been exhausted. You are not at your peak state. Moreover, he was injured in the end. And I, on the other hand, am a peak existence. Moreover, I have 2 Saint King weapons in my hands. If we really fight, I can guarantee that you won't get any benefits. The people of Great Sage City had ugly expressions on their faces. What he said was true. If they were at their peak state, the 3 Great Sage Kings would have nothing to worry about. However, the 3 Great Sage Kings had expended too much energy and were injured. They did not know how much combat power they had left. On the other hand, Peerless Saint King's aura seemed to be stronger than when he entered. It was obvious that he had benefited greatly in the past 3 years. Just as the Fan Great Sage Kings were hesitating, a piercing light suddenly lit up. It charged towards Lin Xian. It was a sure kill sword. Lin Xian jumped in fright. He immediately used the void escape technique and dodged quickly. This scene directly alarmed the people of Peerless City. Who was it? Did he really want to make a move? Peerless Saint King roared and slashed down with his sword, directly shattering the void. Poof! A figure flew out and was beaten into a bloody mist. It was not someone from the 3 Great Sage City. An assassin. Could it be that he was from the mortal world? Peerless Saint King was shocked. Lin Xian's expression was even worse. Damn it. He had just changed his life level and these people from the mortal world came to kill him. Could it be that they had received news about him? He did not dare to imagine. Buzz buzz buzz. At the same time, many hazy figures appeared in all directions. They stood in the void like gods of death. These people crushed the tokens in their hands at the same time and formed a formation. Soon a space was formed. A figure came out of the space gate. When Peerless Saint King saw this, he immediately used all his strength to slash with his peerless sword. He shattered the space gate. The figure disappeared, but in the end someone walked out. This person was a late-stage sacred venerable. He held a killing sword in his hand. It was the weapon of a Sage King. It seemed that there was a Sage King who wanted to teleport over. However, the formation was destroyed, and only a weapon and a sacred venerable could be teleported over. That was enough. When the 3rd Great Sage King saw this, he was overjoyed. This was a good opportunity to attack. The 3 of them charged over in a frenzy. With the help of the mortal world's assassins, they could turn the situation around. A great battle broke out in an instant. It was very sudden. The entire starry sky was destroyed. The 3rd Great Sage King did not hold back at all. He immediately used his ultimate skill. Some took out their Sage King weapons, while others directly used Desolation Summoning. Their main target was Peerless Saint King. Because as long as Peerless Saint King died, the others were nothing to be afraid of. Not good. Master. The people from Peerless City were stunned. 3 against 1, could Peerless Saint King stop them? Senior brother. Lin Xian was also shocked. This was too dangerous. He quickly threw out the Great Destruction Spear. At the same time he left a soul mark on it, allowing Peerless Saint King to control it. Peerless Saint King was instantly struck by a terrifying blow. He was forced to retreat. Fortunately, he had the Devouring Law and could devour a portion of the power. Otherwise he would be in danger. But even so he was still being suppressed. However, in the next moment, a pitch-black light pierced through the void and tore apart the Yellow Springs diagram, arriving beside Peerless Saint King. Peerless Saint King's eyes lit up. It was the 2nd Sage King weapon. That's great. He grabbed the Great Destruction Spear with his left hand and swung it out. Boundless demonic chi exploded. The 2 Sage King weapons allowed him to temporarily escape from danger. Bus. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Peerless Saint King roared. Although he still had the appearance of a young man, his eyes were exuding a domineering aura. A huge devouring vortex appeared, covering the 9 heavens. The entire starry sky was completely dark. Everyone was devoured. The people from Sacred City were terrified. They frantically tried to defend themselves. Lin Xian and the others were also nervous. The 3rd Great Sage King attacked like a madman. Chapter 4159. The battle between the 4 Sage Kings instantly destroyed everything. Lin Xian and the others quickly retreated. They simply could not contend against a battle between Sage Kings. The aftermath of this energy was enough to tear them to pieces. Therefore, with Linghu Chueshue as the representative, They quickly retreated into the distance. Did they want to leave? The people from the great sage city charged upstairs. Kill. Ling Hu Chueshue and the others pulled out their weapons and rushed up. If the three great sage city were at their peak, they would immediately turn around and leave. But now, the three sages of the great sage city had long lost their strength and were seriously injured. Moreover, their numbers were much fewer than before. Only a third of them survived. Although they had more people, their condition was too bad. These people were not to be feared at all. Sure enough, Ling Hu Chueshue was very powerful. He directly deprived them of their sight and sound. Then he destroyed the soul aura on all of them. They were like killing gods in the darkness, quickly reaping. The people from the great sage city roared crazily. Those who had reached the holy venerate level frantically used their laws, making it impossible for anyone to get close to them. At the same time, they frantically retreated. And at this moment, another terrifying killing intent descended from the sky. It charged towards Lin Xian. At the same time, someone swung his sword. The barrier formed by Ling Hu Chueshue was instantly destroyed. Not good, it was the weapon of a sage king. Retreat quickly. The human world brought a sage king weapon which was enough to threaten all of them. Although Ling Hu Chueshue, Fu Hongye, and the others were strong, they could not withstand a late-stage holy venerate and a sage king weapon. They could only dodge quickly. Those killer sages were continuously chasing after them. In addition, the threat of this sage king weapon was too great. Bus. It was a blood-red sword. It was very terrifying. The aura it emitted became stronger again. Then it slashed towards Lin Xian. Not good. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He activated the void escape. However, the power of this sword was too violent. It directly cut a nearby star in half. Lin Xian and the others could not dodge at all. Even if they were hit by the energy shockwaves, they would still be severely injured. Therefore Lin Xian said, "Come over." He activated the Great Sage Tower. With a clang, the Great Sage Pagoda was sent flying. Fortunately, he managed to block the attack. What is this? The people from Peerless City were stunned. Lin Xian still had such a defensive treasure on him? The dark red divine dragon and the toad, however, were gnashing their teeth. Damn it, counterattack. They channeled their power into the Great Sage Tower. The Great Sage Pagoda turned into a ray of light and collided with the merciless bloody massacre sword. An intense battle broke out between the two of them. In a star world by the side, that world was torn apart. He wasn't dead. Does that brat still have a saint artifact on him? The three Saint Kings who were fighting Peerless Saint King were also stunned. They originally thought that the people from Wuxia City would definitely die. Who would have thought that he would be able to survive? Peerless Saint King heaved a sigh of relief and then counterattacked with all his strength. The Peerless Sword and Great Destruction Spear in his hands attacked in all directions. However, at this moment, the spatial gate in the void once again condensed. Then the real Saint King assassin arrived. The moment he appeared, he shattered the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The terrifying murderous aura once again destroyed the 2 stars around him. This was just the murderous aura on his body. If he attacked with all his strength, how violent would it be? He took the merciless bloody massacre sword from the Saint King and then slashed down. This was the full attack of a Saint King. The Great Sage Pagoda was sent flying again. Lin Xian and the others were forced back. There was no other way. He was too strong. If they were Saint Kings, they could definitely kill the other party by controlling the Great Sage Pagoda. But now they were not Saint Kings. The strongest was only a Saint King. But a group of Saint Kings together could not compare to a Saint King. You can come in too. When Peerless Saint King saw this scene, he directly used the law of devour and swallowed the Saint King assassin. He would not let the Saint King attack Lin Xian and the others directly. The remaining Saint Slayers rushed out in a frenzy. The people from the Great Sage City also rushed over. The situation was also very dangerous. Everyone go all out. Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul exploded. The Taiji diagram rotated. The dark red divine dragon's blood surged. The dragons used their great abilities. A 7-colored phoenix appeared on Murong Qingqing's body. At the same time, a desolate pagoda appeared in her hand. This was an imitation of an extreme weapon. Its power was also very terrifying. Ling Hu Chueshue, Fu Hongye and the others also went all out. The battle was very tragic. Lin Xian and the others actually resisted the attacks of the mortal world and the 3 great sage cities. Although they were also injured, they could hold on without the threat of the Saint King. If they could not block the attacks, they would use the Great Sage Pagoda to defend. However, at this moment, an endless amount of yellow spring water dripped down from above their heads. It spread out in the void around them. Don't be enveloped by the yellow spring water. They frantically retreated. However, it was useless. This time, it was not the Saint Venerables of the Yellow Spring Hall who attacked. It was the Silver Corpse Saint King. Yellow Spring Soul Control. A terrifying and eerie voice was heard. Everyone felt that they were affected by the Yellow Spring water. Their bodies were out of control. Even Lin Xian felt a huge impact on his soul. He frantically tried his best to resist. His soul was pushed to the extreme. However, he was still affected. His soul was currently equivalent to a Saint Venerable. However, it was not enough compared to a Saint King. He felt that the Great Sage Pagoda was out of his control. It was forcefully knocked away from him. It flew into the distance. It landed on a star world. In the sky, a yellow spring Tao diagram rushed over. It enveloped all of them. Oh, were they going to die? At this moment, everyone was in despair. Murong Qingqing and the others wanted to fight back. However, they found that the desolate replica pagoda was also swallowed by the yellow spring. They were all controlled and turned into puppets. They could only watch helplessly as the attack came towards them. Was this the power of a Saint King? It was too strong. They were in despair and could not resist. Damn it, how dare you! Unparalleled Saint King roared crazily. However, fighting 4 people at once was already his limit. Even if he had 2 great sage artifacts and the devouring law, he could not spare any extra power to save Lin Xian and the others. Damn it, no! Lin Xian roared. The great dragon sword soul circulated crazily and shattered the yellow spring's control. In the next moment he could move again. He frantically recalled the Great Sage Pagoda. The Great Sage Pagoda turned into a stream of light and flew over. However, it was too late. The yellow spring Tao diagram was even faster. In an instant it was in front of them. Chapter 4160. Crack. The bodies of Linghu Chueshue, Fu Hongye, and the others shattered. The dark red divine dragon toad also screamed crazily. Murong Qingqing spat out a mouthful of blood, staining her face red. Lin Xian had gone crazy. He would never allow the other party to hurt the people around him. The Great Sage Pagoda was too late to defend, so he could only rely on him. Void escape. At this moment, Lin Xian activated many secret techniques. The Great Dragon Sword Soul, the terrifying power of Tai Chi, the Void Escape, and the 5-time strength of the Peerless Secret Technique. Lin Xian rushed up and directly used the Void Escape to teleport away. Not only that, but the Yellow Springs Tao diagram also left with him. In the next moment, Lin Xian appeared in the distance, and the Yellow Springs Tao diagram completely enveloped him. It shattered with a loud bang. That place had completely sunk into oblivion, and several stars were completely shattered. Oh, junior brother Lin. Linghu Chueshue and the others screamed crazily. Brother Xian. Murong Qingqing cried. The toad, the dark red divine dragon, and the others roared crazily. In order to save them, Lin Xian directly teleported the Yellow Springs Tao diagram away. He alone took a blow from the Great Sage King. More importantly, the Great Sage Pagoda was not beside the other party. No matter how strong the 9-yang divine body was, it could not withstand such an attack. Only one of them was hit? The Silver Corpse Holy King was stunned. He did not expect the other party to be able to teleport his attack away. This kid also knew spatial magic. However, it was good that he was dead. He did not plan to let the other party live anyway. Damn it, how dare you! The Peerless Holy King was completely enraged. At this moment he desperately attacked. He repelled the 3 Great Sage Kings. Bang! His back was struck by the World of Men's assassin's sword. His entire body was sliced into 2. However, he used the law of devour to directly devour this terrifying Saint Killer. Quickly retreat, this guy has gone crazy. The 3 Great Sage Kings frantically retreated. Sure enough, the Peerless Holy King was pretending to go berserk, burning his bloodline and power without caring about the consequences. He attacked crazily. Third, the Great Sage King did not dare to fight against him. The best way to deal with a crazy person was to avoid them. On the other side, the people from Peerless City were trembling in anger. Murong Qingqing felt as if her soul had been sucked out of her body. She could not believe what she was seeing. Older brother Xian. She recklessly rushed over, but was sent flying by the power of the Yellow Springs. Her body died in blood. However, she rushed forward again. It was the same for the toad and the dark red dragon. Let us help you. They instantly rushed forward. It was the same for Linghu Chueshue and the others. Finally they came to the front, but found that the front was already in ruins. That place had long become primal chaos, an endless abyss appearing. The void was shattered and there was no one's shadow at all. There was blood. was that kid's. He saw the dark red dragon's golden blood. This golden blood belongs to the 9 Yang divine body. Lin Xian was injured. Where is he? That brat should be able to block it, right? They searched frantically but they couldn't find Lin Xian at all. Could it be that this kid was really dead? These people couldn't believe it at all. As for the people from the Great Sage King City, they were laughing out loud. That was great. But soon they couldn't laugh anymore. Because Murong Qingqing and the others were crazily counterattacking. The peerless Holy King's law of devouring was even more violent, completely swallowing the entire starfield. In an instant, the sages from the Great Sage King City were extremely miserable and were instantly killed. Other than the 4 Great Sage Kings, the others couldn't resist at all. Damn it, the eyes of the people from the Great Sage King City were red. They had all brought experts this time. They had lost some in the Gourd world but they still had some top experts. But now they were all swallowed by the peerless Holy King. How could they be willing to accept this? Therefore the 3 Great Sage Kings were also crazily counterattacking. In the human world, the Holy King level assassins were also dispatched. And from the looks of it he was going to continue hunting down Murong Qingqing, Linghu Chueshue and the others. The peerless Holy King once again launched a shocking attack, then turned into a black light and instantly arrived beside Linghu Chueshue and the others. With a wave of his hand he enveloped these people. Go. He also rolled up the Great Sage Tower and at the same time set up a defense. These people entered the Great Sage Tower, blocked the shocking attack of the 4 Great Sage Kings, and then disappeared. Damn it. Damn it. The 4 Great Sage Kings' faces were ugly. The 4 of them had joined forces, and originally wanted to kill the peerless Holy King and the others in one fell swoop. Then they might take the opportunity to take over the entire peerless city. But things were out of their expectations. They only killed Lin Xian and the others didn't seem to be dead. And they didn't get the treasure. More importantly, they suffered heavy losses. The holy venerables they brought out were all killed. This made them so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. Damn it, go. These people also left quickly. The assassins in the human realm also hid. The assassin's lips curled into a smile. He didn't come for the treasure but to kill Lin Xian. Now that he had killed Lin Xian he could naturally go back. In the Great Sage Tower, everyone's mood was extremely low. Especially Murong Qingqing, the dark red divine dragon, and the others. They still couldn't believe it. Was Lin Xian really dead? Damn it, I want revenge. The dark red divine dragon roared. Murong Qingqing also gritted her teeth. I will use the power of the Kunlun Pavilion at all costs. I will definitely not let them have it easy. The peerless Holy King took a deep breath. He said that revenge must be taken, but not too crazily. There was still a glimmer of hope. What did that mean? They raised their heads after hearing it. Could it be that Lin Xian wasn't dead? The peerless Holy King said that he wasn't sure, but a trace of his soul remained on this weapon, and it hasn't disappeared yet. So there was still hope. Hearing that, Murong Qingqing cried tears of joy. The dark red divine dragon and the others also heaved a sigh of relief. But where was Lin Xian now? What exactly happened? They had no idea. The peerless Holy King said, "Follow me back to the peerless city first. I won't let them have it easy." These people turned into streams of light and disappeared. As for this news, it began to spread. Lin Wudi was killed. That was impossible. The news came from the holy city. The Holy King had personally killed him. No way, Lin Wudi actually angered the Holy King? Which Holy King was it? It was said that it was the Silver Corpse Holy King from the Acheron Hall. How could Lin Wudi block his attack? Indeed, no matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he was only a small saint. Compared to the Holy King, he was too weak. This time he was definitely going to die. Many people shook their heads and sighed. It was really a pity that a top sky pride had fallen. However, some of the geniuses in the holy city heaved a sigh of relief. Some of them even sneered. Great, the Demon King was finally dead. No matter how arrogant he was, he had finally angered the Holy King. In short, this incident caused the second astral realm to be in an uproar. Chapter 4161. It turned out that Wushuang City had directly destroyed one of the worlds of the Acheron Palace. That world of stars was torn to pieces, directly blown apart. Wow, it can't be. Wushuang City had counterattacked. And it was such a terrifying counterattack. Everyone went crazy. It wasn't over yet. After the Acheron Palace, the Great Desolation Mansion and the Myriad Demon City were also attacked. The worlds under their rule were also in tatters. The losses were very heavy. Wushuang City's attack was very decisive and swift. They returned immediately after they succeeded. The entire Wuxia city was heavily guarded, not giving the other side any chance. The third great city's sage ruler had just returned. When he heard the news, he was so angry that he vomited blood. Damn it. Pass down the order. Don't let anyone from Wuxia City go. In an instant, the atmosphere in the second astral realm became incomparably tense. Everyone went crazy. It was normal for there to be conflicts between the sacred cities, but they were usually small skirmishes. However, it wasn't the case now. The destruction of the stars was already very terrifying. It was very likely that there would be even more terrifying battles in the future. A huge storm would probably sweep through the second astral realm. Myriad Demon City. Jiao Di Qilin came out of seclusion. When he heard the news of Lin Xian's death, his lips curled into a smile. Is he finally dead? I originally wanted to kill him personally. But it's good. The spot on the pilgrim list is mine now. Gao Yu of the New Moon clan was also in a daze when she heard the news. Lin Wuti had died? She really didn't dare to believe it. One had to know that when they had participated in the Destiny Star competition together, she had achieved dazzling results. However, Lin Wuti had grown much faster than her and had left her far behind. She originally thought that she would never be able to catch up to him in this lifetime. Who would have thought that something like this would happen to him? Not only her, but the people of the Golden Crow clan and the Myriad Sword Pavilion all sneered. Even the people on the pilgrim ranking were stunned when they heard about it. What a pity. Chao Tianxing shook his head. On the other side, Gu Feng sneered when he heard the news. What heaven illuminator. He was indeed a person abandoned by the heavens. Only the living geniuses had a future. The dead were nothing. Some people were destined to become dust. Sealed land. This was a very famous forbidden land on the Green Hill Star. Because it was very dangerous. Legend had it that ordinary saints would definitely die if they entered. It was said that a great battle had taken place here in the ancient times. 2 peerless saints from outside the realm had fought fiercely here. And countless saints' blood. After so many years, the aura. As soon as they entered, they would succumb to the pressure and become a blood-soul puppet. However, even if ordinary people didn't dare to enter, the powerful experts and geniuses could still enter. Furthermore, this sealed land would open up once every 300 years to send in some people with potential to cultivate. This time it was time for the official opening. Those who could enter. There were even people from other worlds who were preparing to come over and enter the sealed land. At this moment, in the depths of the seal, the void broke open. A black furnace came crashing down and landed on the ground. This caused the earth to tremble and countless large cracks spread out in all directions. Calm? Could it be that there was another accident? Or did some treasure appear? They all rushed over. As for the black stove, it slowly opened and a person crawled out from it. After he came out, he looked around cautiously. Then he heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had escaped the pursuit of the 3 great sage kings. This person was Lin Xian. The furnace was the void divine furnace. Everyone thought that he was dead. But he was alive and came to this mysterious place. He was indeed in danger. He used the void escape to move the yellow spring Dao diagram to protect Murong Qingqing and the others. But he was in danger. The great sage tower was not by his side. It was too difficult for him to block a Saint King's terrifying attack with his strength. It was basically impossible. However, he did not only have the great sage tower in his body. He also had the void divine furnace. Although he did not use this furnace usually and only used it when he was refining pills. But it was also a mysterious treasure that he had obtained. At the moment of danger, he took out the void divine furnace and entered it. He dodged. The void divine furnace was hit by the yellow spring Dao diagram. It tore through the void and entered the spatial turbulence. No one knew where it flowed to. Fortunately, this furnace was very terrifying. It actually withstood a Saint King's attack. When the furnace stabilized, Lin Xian came out and saw the surrounding scene. He realized that this was no longer the starry sky. There was no longer the pursuit of the 3 great sage kings. It seemed that he had left that place and his life was not in danger for the time being. He just did not know how Murong Qingqing and the others were doing. It seemed that he had to think of a way to go back. At least he had to figure out where this place was. Suddenly he furrowed his brows. He sensed quite a few powerful auras rushing over. In the next moment, he waved his hand and put away the void divine furnace. However, a figure had already arrived in the void. He looked down and said coldly, "Who are you? What did you put away just now? Hand it over and I will spare your life." It seemed that he treated the void divine furnace as a treasure and wanted to snatch it away. Lin Xian frowned slightly and looked forward. He had consumed a lot of energy in the previous battle. In addition, he was also injured when he ran away. At this moment he could only use half of his strength. However, this was not someone that anyone could provoke. He realized that the figure in front of him was tall and straight. His aura was violent and even carried a demonic energy. Moreover, there was an illusion of a tail behind him. He was not a human. He should be a demonic beast. It seemed that he had reached the late stage of the minor saint realm. He should be an expert. He did not know what this place was. Therefore he did not prepare to fight. He said indifferently, "You don't need to know who I am. As for the thing I put away just now, it belongs to me. Are you looking for other places? Are you a human? You are just a puny human. How dare you say that it belongs to you in this place? The entire sealed land belongs to us. Hand it over and I will spare your life. Otherwise you will die without a burial place." Lin Xian was also angry. This guy was too arrogant. He snorted coldly. "Come and get it with your strength if you have the ability." Speaking of this, a terrifying aura surged out from his body, causing the heaven and earth to tremble. Bus, bus. At this moment, many figures appeared in the surroundings. They did not step forward but watched the battle from the surroundings. That must be Hu Donglai. He actually came. Looks like we have no chance. Yeah, we can't defeat him even if we join forces. Chapter 4162. Originally they also thought that there were treasures, but now that they saw that tall man they all gave up. Who was that? It was a human. He actually dared to challenge Hu Donglai. It seemed that he was courting death. Hu Donglai was also angry. "You dare to challenge me? It seems that you really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. If you want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish." His eyes became gloomy and cold. He slowly raised his palm. There was an astonishing power on it. His aura filled the air and with a terrifying law, he slapped forward. A series of afterimages appeared. This claw grabbed at Lin Xian's throat. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Facing such an attack he did not dodge. Instead he directly threw out a punch. The golden fist flickered with light and the flames on it jumped. Clang. An earth-shaking sound was heard. The two of them each took 3 steps back. Lin Xian sighed. Right now he only had half of his strength left. Otherwise, this strike of his would have split the other party's hand apart. On the opposite side, Hu Donglia's pupils shrank in disbelief. The other party was actually able to fight evenly with him. It was really unbelievable. Could it be that the other party had some secret technique? How could he know that this was only half of Lin Xian's strength? If he knew, he would probably be scared silly on the spot. The surrounding people also cried out in surprise. This scene was really beyond their expectations. It seemed that a mysterious human expert had entered. Why didn't they know? Hu Donglia's face was cold as he asked coldly, "Who are you? And who are you?" Lin Xian asked back, "Humph, you don't even know me?" Hu Donglai was stunned. He thought that the other party was still arrogant. However, seeing that the other party really did not seem to know him, he also revealed a suspicious expression. "Could it be that you are not from Green Hill?" Green Hill, was that the name of this world? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He carefully recalled that he had never heard of this world. Could it be that it was not the second astral realm? Shaking his head, he felt that it was not possible. He should not be able to leave the second astral realm. Moreover, the second astral realm was too vast. He had only heard of the names of some holy cities. He had never heard of most of the world's names. So now, it was normal that he did not know. "I don't know, I came here by chance." Lin Xian shook his head. A shocking killing intent appeared in Hu Donglia's eyes. "If you don't know, then die." He condensed his hand once again, and there was a green flame dancing on it. Cyan Fox Claw. The terrifying claws suddenly grew in size, resembling 2 green mountains. The green laws on them continuously revolved. Its power was extremely strong. If this strike landed, it was likely that anyone of the same cultivation realm would die instantly. Lin Xian coldly snorted, instantly displayed the Heavenly Dipper battle sword, 36 battle swords, whistling between heaven and earth. The terrifying law of sword collided with the green fox's claws. A terrifying explosion swept out in all directions. The spectators retreated frantically as they screamed in horror. No way this kid could really contend against Hu Donglai. Hu Donglia's Cyan Fox Claw is an ultimate technique. Even if we join hands, we can't block it. That brat had actually blocked it. His 36 Dao sword should be an extremely terrifying saint artifact. Everyone was talking about it. Hu Donglai was equally shocked, his face completely gloomy. Another fierce collision. Everything around them was turned into ashes. The two were once again tied, confronting each other. Hudonglia's expression was ugly while Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He nodded. Not bad, not bad. Although I only have half of my strength now to be able to fight with me for so long. You are indeed a genius. After hearing this, Hudonglai directly vomited blood. The other party was criticizing him? What qualifications did the other party have to criticize him? He was a genius to begin with. Moreover, the other party only had half of his strength. What did that mean? Was he looking down on him? He rushed forward. The 36 heavenly dipper battle swords burned with golden flames, transforming into 36 golden crows, and directly collided with the other party. Hudonglai was forced to retreat. Lin Xian said, I don't have the time to fight with you now. You'd better not provoke me or else you'll end up miserable. Damn brat. Hudonglai roared angrily. 5 tails appeared behind him, shaking non-stop. An extremely terrifying bloodline power burst out, and his aura and strength also increased exponentially. It seemed that he was going to go all out. Turning into a stream of light, he instantly appeared in front of Lin Xian, and the green fox claws crazily fell. However, he missed. He only managed to hit an afterimage. The void shattered and there was no trace of Lin Xian at all. Was that brat killed? Impossible, not even blood flowed out. He should have left. What a fast speed. Everyone was discussing. Hudonglia's face became gloomy. He felt a trace of spatial power. Did the other party use a spatial divine ability to escape? Damn it, the other party actually knew such a mysterious divine ability? Who was this person? Lin Xian used the void escape to leave this place. He did not fight with these people anymore. Instead, he wanted to leave as soon as possible. At least he had to ask where this place was. As he walked, he was suddenly stunned. Because he found that on the tree in front of him, there was a little white monkey waving at him. Lin Xian was completely stunned. Little white. This little monkey looked exactly the same as the snow-white little monkey. Could it be that the other party had also been knocked down along with him? Thinking of this, he walked forward and said with a smile, Little white. Little white also pounced towards him. However, when it arrived in front of him, Lin Xian's pupils suddenly shrank. He felt a huge sense of danger. But he did not have time to think and directly dodged. The place where he was originally standing was torn apart by the little monkey, and a terrifying spatial crack appeared. Lin Xian frowned and a golden light flickered in his eyes. In the next moment, his face became even more unsightly. Because in front of him it was not little white at all. It was a rune that burned with green flames. An illusion? Lin Xian was too surprised. Someone actually set up an illusion to deal with him? Who was it? Was it the group from before? Suddenly at this moment he heard a sound. You can actually dodge my illusion attack. This is really unbelievable. How did you see through my illusion? Lin Xian turned his head and saw a young girl walk out from behind the tree. She was wearing white clothes and her hair was braided. There was a collar around her neck. She looked very cute. She looked like she was about 15 or 16 years old. Lin Xian was shocked. Could it be that this illusion was set up by the other party? Could it be an old monster? He frowned slightly. After all, the unparalleled Sage King also looked very young, but his real body was a Sage King. Could the little girl in front of him be the same? Old monster, you're the old monster. The girl pouted her lips after hearing that. Obviously, she was very unhappy with this title. In the next moment, she formed a seal with her palms. Illusory Realm Void Spirit / As her voice fell, the scene around her changed again. Lin Xian felt that there was an endless void around him. The stars under his feet flickered, and there was a ray of starlight in the sky. Chapter 4163. This is all an illusion. Lin Xian's eyes shone with golden light as he swept his gaze across the area. In the next moment, he realized that the scene around him had indeed disappeared. He was still standing in the same direction. It's useless. The illusion has no effect on me. Lin Xian said as he walked forward. The little girl was clearly shocked. Her array formation had been broken so quickly. That's impossible. However, at this moment she smiled brightly. You still lost. As soon as her voice fell, a ray of light shone behind Lin Xian. It was a saber with a terrifying murderous intent. It made Lin Xian's hair stand on end. But, with a flip of his hand, he pulled out a battle sword and slashed out. A clanging sound was heard as the space was torn apart. A figure retreated. Lin Xian frowned as well. To think that there was someone else. He didn't notice it before. Could it be that this person was also hiding in the illusion formation? What a strange place. How could there be so many geniuses here? Lin Xian realized that he seemed to have come to an unusual place. He shook his head and prepared to leave. When the girl saw this scene, she said, "Hold on to him. He can break my illusion. He must have some secret on him. I must study it carefully." A man in battle armor walked out from behind her. He was holding a long and narrow saber in his hand. It was as thin as a willow leaf. However, he had already experienced its attack power. It was terrifying. This person was also a late small saint. It seemed like this place was a gathering place for geniuses. Otherwise there wouldn't be so many experts. But the man in green battle armor moved. Instantly, 5 figures that looked exactly like him appeared around him and surrounded Lin Xian. The 5 figures seemed to be real. The aura on their bodies was equally terrifying. 6 Shadow Strike. The long sabers in the hands of the 6 figures fell together. The power was extremely terrifying. Could it be an illusion? Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes and continued to investigate. In the next moment he retreated and took out more battle swords. They formed the heavenly dipper sword formation to block the attack. The reason for that was because he had discovered that those 5 figures were not illusions. Instead they were real. The heavenly dipper battle swords crisscrossed, forming a close defense. He blocked all 6 of their attacks. At the same time, Lin Xian sent out 12 swords to kill the enemy. The 24 sword slashes were used for defense. Combining offense and defense, he was able to handle it with ease. Wow, that's amazing. The young girl leaned against the tree and started eating melon seeds. The armored man furiously roared and the 6 of them attacked together. Resplendent laws lit up the world, making it so that no one could open their eyes. Lin Xian used the heavenly dipper battle sword to block, but at this time the ground beneath his feet cracked open. The 7th figure appeared and charged forward. Was this the real killer move? Lin Xian shouted coldly. He stomped his foot and kicked the opponent's saber. With a clang, the 7th figure was forced back, and the other 6 figures also disappeared. Had he been discovered? Damn it, what a strong physique. Are you really human? The armored man shook his head. His arm was a little numb. What kind of person was this? How could he be so strong? The young girl was also shocked and couldn't believe it. Looking at your physique, such a strong bloodline power must be very powerful. The young girl's eyes lit up as if she was staring at a delicious meal. Lin Xian's face was covered in cold sweat. Damn, is she still a foodie? He also revealed his white teeth. Don't provoke me. I have eaten many monsters such as the golden roc, the golden crow. I have eaten them all. You'd better stay away from me. The armored man was stunned. Was this for real? The young girl was surprised. Really? Was it delicious? Lin Xian's face was covered in cold sweat. The young girl wasn't afraid at all. He said, "Okay, you can't beat me and I don't want to fight with you. I have to go." "Who are you?" the armored man asked. Lin Xian said, "Human, I accidentally came here. To be honest, I just want to go out and know where this place is. If you want to know, you can ask us." The young girl said, "Really? Then can you tell me where this place is?" "This is the Green Hill Star. The place you are in is called the Sealed Land." Lin Xian was even more confused. "Can you tell me more details?" Lin Xian didn't attack again. Instead he asked carefully. Soon he had a rough understanding. The place where the 9-tailed fox lived was very famous in the second astral realm. However, it was as mysterious as the sky demon-covered land. Ordinary people couldn't find its coordinates. Only some powerful monsters could find it. Humans rarely appeared here. Thus, Lin Xian's appearance came as a great surprise to them. The place they were in now was a forbidden area on the Green Hill Star. The Sealed Land opened once every 300 years. It was the opening time now. Hearing this, Lin Xian finally understood. It was no wonder why so many experts would appear here. It turned out that they were here for training. "Do you have a map? I want to leave this Sealed Land and then leave the Green Hill Star. I'm ready to go back. Why don't we go together? We want to go back too." The young girl was called Chen Bai. She said with a smile. Next to her, the man in light armor was called Qing Feng. "Okay, thank you very much. With these two leading the way, they should be able to get out soon." Sure enough, Chen Bai and the others took a detour to some dangerous places. However, in the past few days, Lin Xian also saw some battles. There were even some battles that shocked him. It seemed that the second astral realm was indeed terrifying. Other than the sacred city, there were still many terrifying geniuses and experts in other places. It was just that they were not known by the world. Lin Xian even saw a person who was very strange. The purple light on his body surged, forming a purple palace that floated behind him. Endless terrifying sword light was emitted from inside. 2 people of the same level were instantly killed. Who was this person? Wasn't this the supernatural power of the Purple Void Temple? Lin Xian had fought with the people of the Purple Void Temple. Naturally he knew. The people of the Purple Void Temple were here too. Seeing this scene, Qian Bai said, "It seems that you are not a nobody. You even know about the Purple Void Temple." That's right, he was indeed from the Purple Void Temple. However, he had another identity. Then he was from the Demon Clan. His original form should be a purple dragon. Don't provoke this guy. This guy is very powerful. Qian Bai led the way and took a detour. The purple dragon of the Purple Void Temple. Lin Xian made a mental note of this man. After 2 days they met another person. This person had a mysterious rune between his eyebrows. Lin Xian had seen this rune before. That was the symbol of the Limitless Sect. The top expert of the Limitless Sect, Chao Tianxing, was very mysterious. Legend said that he was not inferior to Gu Feng. The genius of the Limitless Sect was here too? What was his original form? Chapter 4164. The 3 of them took a detour again. After another 2 days, Qian Bai suddenly said, "I feel sister's aura." As she spoke, she sped up and walked towards a valley in front of her. Qing Feng also smiled and said, "Let's go." Lin Xian was curious. Was this the sister of these people? He also followed. There was indeed a figure in the valley. Her back was facing the crowd. It seemed that she was not fighting but admiring the flowers. Admiring the flowers was also comprehending the great Tao. He did not know what great Tao this woman was comprehending. "Sister." Qian Bai ran up directly. The woman turned around with a smile on her face. She took it from Qian Bai. "You little girl, it's so dangerous here. Who let you in?" "Don't worry, Qing Feng will not be in any danger with me." Sure enough, Qing Feng also walked up and said, "Sister, long time no see." Lin Xian also followed in, but he was soon stunned. He even widened his eyes in disbelief. To be honest, he really did not expect to meet her here. There's actually someone else here? The woman in front also raised her head and revealed a smile. However, when she saw Lin Xian, she was also stunned and almost screamed. "It's you? Why are you here? How can you still be alive?" She was really shocked. "Do you know her? He's very powerful. He can actually break my illusion." Qian Bai was very surprised. Qing Feng was also stunned. This person seemed to have more background than they imagined. Lin Xian said, "It seems that my news has spread. Then let me ask you, other than me, what happened to the others?" There should be news spread out. Lin Xian was too shocked. He really did not expect to meet Qin Xianer here. She was a genius of the Acacia Palace. Moreover, she was also a genius on the pilgrim list and a super user of illusion. But why would the other party appear here? Could it be that she was also a demon? Previously, he had already met people from the Purple Void Palace and the Limitless Sect. It seemed that not every demon was going to the Demon City. They would also go to other sacred cities. Qin Xianer was even more shocked. She would not be surprised if she met anyone from the sacred cities here. However, meeting Lin Xian was simply too unexpected for her. Wasn't Lin Xian already dead? He was killed by the Sage King. However, why was he still able to appear here? Could it be that the legend was fake? The legend you heard should be true, but the ending is different. I dodged the blow. Hearing this, Qin Xianer was shocked, not daring to believe it. That was an attack from a Saint King. Even a Saint Venerable could not dodge it, but Lin Xian could. Lin Xian said, "You haven't answered my question." Qin Xianer came back to her senses. She said that the others should be fine. They were all taken away by Peerless Saint King and returned to Peerless Saint City. Hearing that Murong Qingqing and the Dark Red Dragon God were not in danger, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. That was great. He was most worried about these people now. As long as these people return to the Holy City, they should be fine. Thank you for telling me. I won't disturb your reunion. Fairy, can you give me a map? I want to leave this place as soon as possible. Do you want to go back? Qin Xianer said, I advise you not to go back now. Peerless Saint City directly attacked the 3 great sage cities for you, destroying many worlds. If you go out now, you will be targeted by the 3 great sage cities. There will probably be a terrifying battle. Lin Xian was shocked again. He did not expect Peerless Saint King to fight back so crazily. However, he had to go back sooner or later. Qin Xianer said, why don't you go back at a specific time? For example, when you go back during the Dao debate. I think that at that time, in front of so many people from the Holy City, Those sage kings will not attack you openly. Dao debate? What is that? Lin Xian was confused. Qin Xianer was even more surprised. You don't know? Didn't the people from the holy city tell you? Lin Xian shook his head. Although I joined the holy city, I did not spend much time in the holy city. I spent most of my time outside. Really, there are legends about you everywhere. Qin Xianer smiled. This was a huge event in the second heavenly world, and it was the most important one. It was held once every 1,000 years. When the Dao debate was held, almost all the holy city and some of the top families would participate. There was no age limit, and the cultivation level was limited to those below the Sage King realm. You can think of it as a grand competition. Not only would the participants of this competition represent their holy city, but the winner would also be engraved in the holy hall and receive supreme glory. There was also a reward for not being injured. It could be said that the Dao debate was something that every sage yearned to participate in. There was actually such a thing. Lin Xian was too shocked. It seemed like there were many things that he did not know. However, he guessed that if the three great sage kings did not attack him, Peerless Saint King would probably tell him about it when he returned. How long was there? The Dao debate was about to start. Not much, there were still 10 years. 10 years was indeed not much. For people like them, it would take more than 10 years to enter seclusion outside. Seeing Lin Xian's hesitation, Qin Xianer added, "You can actually cultivate here. It won't be too late for you to return when you're stronger." "All right." Lin Xian nodded. Thousands of years passed in the blink of an eye, let alone 10 years. This amount of time was nothing to him. Moreover, he only had half of his strength now. He was prepared to recuperate. As for the news that he was still alive, he was prepared to use some methods to send it back. Fortunately, the Great Destruction Spear was in the hands of Peerless Saint King, and it still had his soul imprint on it. He could use his soul to send it back. He had to prepare well for it. As for the Dao debate, since it was the most important event in the second heavenly world, he would definitely not miss it. Yellow Spring Hall, Great Desolate Manor, Thousand Demon City. Just wait. When he appeared again, he would not let the three great sage kings go. As for the three great sage kings who attacked him, especially the Yellow Spring Sage King, he would personally kill them one day. You're actually so lucky to be chosen by my sister. Let me tell you, my sister is the princess of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Qian Bai snorted. Lin Xian was greatly shocked. Indeed, Qin Xianer was also from the demon clan. Moreover, she was from the legendary Nine-Tailed Fox clan. Little girl, don't talk nonsense. Qin Xianer looked at Lin Xian and said, "We're only a branch of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. The true Nine-Tailed Fox clan shouldn't be in the second heavenly world." Lin Xian nodded in agreement. For example, he had seen many members of the Dragon clan. However, the true nest of 10,000 dragons was in the true spirit world. Thinking about it, the buried Emperor Star should also have dragon balls. The Nine-Tailed Fox clan's main camp might even be in the legendary buried Emperor Star. Although it was a branch, it was still the Nine-Tailed Fox clan with an extraordinary bloodline. No wonder Qin Xianer's illusion techniques were so powerful. No wonder this little girl had such a terrifying illusion formation at such a young age. This was a bloodline talent. Alright, let's go back. That's right, young Master Lin, you should change your appearance. If people from the other holy cities see this and spread the news, they will definitely be affected. If the people from the heavenly world knew about this, it would be bad. Lin Xian nodded. He had changed his appearance. With the great dragon sword soul, unless it was a true sage king, no one would be able to see through his identity. As for Qian Bai and Qing Feng, after Qin Xianer spoke, the two of them also nodded. They definitely wouldn't leak any information. Following this, the four of them walked out of the seal. Following this, many people respectfully greeted Qin Xianer when they saw her. Some young geniuses even had fiery red eyes. If they could obtain the princess's favor, they would soar to the heavens. However, when they saw an unfamiliar youth standing beside Qin Xianer, their eyes were filled with jealousy. Damn it, who is this person? They gnashed their teeth in anger. Of course, other than the Nine-Tailed Fox clan, there were other powerful demon clans that entered the seal. Some of them even dared to attack Qin Xianer directly. One had to admit that they were extremely daring. However, they ended up in a miserable state. Qin Xianer's speed was even more terrifying than Qian Bai's. With just a glance, she had shackled the souls of those who attacked her. They couldn't resist at all. The Nine-Tailed Fox clan was very good at illusion techniques. It seemed that he had to study it carefully when he had the chance. Lin Xian was also very surprised by the illusion techniques of these people. The following days were relatively peaceful. Basically, no one dared to provoke this team. However, on this day something unexpected happened. There were 3 figures in front of them. They were equally terrifying. They stared at Qin Xianer with fiery red eyes. They didn't expect to be so lucky to meet such a fairy. Come back with us. The 3 of them charged forward without any explanation. They didn't know what was good for them. Qing Feng shouted coldly and charged forward. He created 6 clones and fought with them. However, the 3 of them were very strange. Their bodies turned into black smoke and disappeared. Chapter 4165. These people dodged Qing Feng's attack and turned into black smoke, charging towards Qin Xianer. Black laws spread out, burning with light, forming 2 black killing swords that slashed forward viciously. They enveloped Qin Xianer. Not good. Qing Feng's expression changed. Lin Xian also frowned. Were these people here for Qin Xianer? Qin Xianer narrowed her eyes and revealed a smile. Red light waves flew out from her eyes. Clearly she was using an eye technique. As expected, although the 2 people's bodies turned into black smoke, their souls couldn't escape at all. They were still affected by the illusion technique. With 2 thuds, the 2 of them fell to the ground. They were foaming at the mouth and trembling non-stop. Seeing this, Chen Bai sneered. How dare they assassinate my sister with such little strength? They really don't know what's good for them. However, right after he said that, Lin Xian warned him to be careful. With a wave of his arm, he slapped at the surrounding void and a figure was slapped out. Chen Bai was shocked because the figure was very close to her. If it wasn't for Lin Xian, she would be in danger. Damn it, is there anyone else? Qing Feng also rushed back and formed 6 clones to block them. At the same time, the surrounding sky darkened and countless black feathers fluttered in the air. There were even strong winds and torrential rain. Not good, it's not just 1 or 2 people. Sister, let's go. Chen Bai's face also turned cold. Boom. Terrifying laws filled the air and a great battle broke out instantly. The people hidden in the black smoke were very terrifying. And there were many of them. There were more than 30 of them and they only had 4 people on their side. It was equivalent to 1 against 10. Fortunately, they were all very strong. Qin Xianer was also an expert on the pilgrim list. Moreover, her illusion technique was extremely terrifying. Often, just looking at her would cause many people's souls to be affected. Buzz. Suddenly, 2 palms reached out from the black smoke. These were 2 purple palms covered with patterns. In the middle of their palms, there were 2 ancient words. That was the power of the seal. In an instant, they had locked onto Qin Xianer, wanting to seal her. Qin Xianer retreated and took out her zither, releasing sound waves. It turned into a sharp blade and fought against the purple palm. The collision between the 2 was extremely terrifying. The 2 palms were knocked back but they did not shatter. Obviously, the attacker was a peak minor saint. Chen Bai and Qing Feng were suppressed. Although the 2 of them were strong, it was too much for them to fight 1 against 10. Moreover, the people who came this time were all experts. Fortunately, Lin Xian was here. A cold light flashed in Lin Xian's eyes. He had just been hunted down, so he naturally knew what it felt like to be hunted down. Who would have thought that these people would actually dare to attack? Although it wasn't directed at him, he was still angry. One after another, battle swords flew out. 36 heavenly dipper battle swords quickly circled around. The sword chi on it was awe-inspiring, spreading out in all directions. In an instant, Lin Xian blocked nearly half of the people. Was he that powerful? Qing Feng took a deep breath. Chen Tian's eyes widened in disbelief. Buzz. At this moment, another pair of purple hands slapped towards Lin Xian with the power of sealing, wanting to seal him. Obviously, they could tell that Lin Xian was a difficult opponent. Although Lin Xian only had half of his strength now, it was not something that ordinary saints could resist. He controlled the 36 heavenly dipper battle swords to fight. The sword chi on them cut through everything. The purple hands could not get close. It seemed that he had to use some methods. He took a deep breath and was about to use Tai Chi. However, at this moment, a long howl came from afar. Qinghu's claw. Then, a green light flickered and turned into 2 terrifying hands that slapped down. It directly dispersed the surrounding black fog. A figure charged over powerfully and many people were sent flying. Great, Chen Bai smiled. Donghu Lai is here. Lin Xian was also taken aback when he saw an insolent man charging towards him. The demonic aura on his body kept spreading. Was him. Lin Xian was stunned. He knew this person. It was the person who fought with him before. He remembered correctly that this person was called Donghu Lai. Could it be that he knew Qin Xianer and the others? After Donghu Lai arrived, he took out a green long saber and slashed in all directions. At the same time he used the green fox claw and kept attacking. He sent many people flying and was about to arrive. Sienna, are you alright? His eyes were filled with deep concern. Qin Sienna frowned slightly, but she still shook her head. Suddenly the killing intent in Donghu Lai's eyes exploded again. You dare to attack Sienna. You're courting death. He swung his claws at Lin Xian. The claws of the green fox moved in the air. It enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The 36 battle swords were like dragons that blotted out the sky and covered the earth, sending the green claws flying. Lin Xian said coldly, "If you want to fight, I'll accompany you." Qian Bai also said, "Donghu Lai, you hit the wrong person. This guy is our friend." "What friend?" Donghu Lai frowned. Wasn't he in cahoots with these people? Qin Sienna shook her head. "This is my friend. Don't attack him again." "Sienna, how can humans believe? Maybe these people were lured here by him." Qin Sienna frowned. "Don't say any more. Are you doubting my words?" Donghu Lai snorted coldly and didn't say anything else. He looked at the people in front of him. "Who are you people? How dare you attack the saintess of my nine-tailed fox clan? Do you want to die?" Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect Qin Sienna's status in the nine-tailed fox clan to be so high. The black fog in front of him filled the air again. Two purple eyes looked over. "Saintess, you're also a princess. We're capturing you." As he spoke, the black fog rushed over again. Courting death. Hudong Lai and the others charged forward again. A great battle erupted. This time it was even more terrifying. More black fog surged over from the surroundings. Not good. When Qin Feng saw this scene, he immediately bit his finger and drew a strange pattern on his glabella. In the next moment he roared at the sky. His body gradually grew bigger. Then four tails appeared on his back and danced non-stop. A roar shook heaven and earth. It turned into a green pillar of light that tore through the 9 heavens and bloomed in the sky. Everyone in the sealed area saw it. This was the 9-tailed royal family's distress signal. Someone dared to attack the royal family? Those people were all stunned. At the same time, there were other powerful figures outside the sealed area. They instantly roared. They tore through the void and charged in. "Retreat quickly." The black fog filled the air. When they saw this scene, they also issued the order to retreat. They retreated like the tide. At this moment, a tail curled over. It collided with those purple eyes. The terrifying tail retreated. However, it still caught 3 of the black fog and stared at them. The other black fog retreated. Several powerful figures appeared in the surroundings. Chapter 4166. Qin Sienna shook her head, but then she frowned and said, "Who are these people?" A sacred venerate waved his hand and grabbed the 3 clouds of black fog. Then he used the power of law. The 3 figures of the black fog continued to grow larger and larger. Then they turned into 3 black demonic beasts. Seeing this scene, that person frowned. The Black Gold Sparrow clan. Did they not know what was good for them? They were probably just scapegoats. The real enemy was in the dark. "Let's go. It's not safe here." Qin Sienna took a deep breath. The next moment she said coldly, "Bring these people back and search their souls. At the same time, thoroughly investigate this matter. I want to see who dares to kill me halfway." At this point, a cold glint appeared in her beautiful eyes. Soon the 3 black gold sparrows were put away. With 4 sacred venerates escorting them, Lin Xian and the others safely left the seal. Then they flew into the distance. After flying for many days, a huge city finally appeared in front of them. It was like a country. This was the 9-tailed fox's imperial city. After entering, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. "Alright, I'm tired. You guys go down and do what you wanted to do." The 4 sacred venerates left. Hudong Lai wanted to say something. Qin Sienna also said that you should leave first. "What about this kid?" He stared at Lin Xian with a murderous look. "I said that she's my friend. I'll make the arrangements. This has nothing to do with you." Qin Sienna said coldly. Then she left with Qian Bai, Qing Feng, Lin Xian and the others. As the saintess, Qin Sienna had her own palace and territory. Therefore, when she came to her territory, she was completely relaxed. She activated the surrounding formations. Then they walked up the mountain along the mountain path. Qing Feng take Qian Bai to rest. Then she and Lin Xian went on alone again. Qin Sienna pointed to a nearby mountain and said, "You can rest here. I'll be right next to you. It's very close." Sure enough, their mountains were next to each other. Alright, then I'll go in first. Lin Xian didn't stand on ceremony. After all, he wasn't in a particularly good state right now. He wanted to recover his strength first, so he directly entered the palace next to him. Next, Lin Xian set up a sealing array. Next, Lin Xian took out some natural treasures and began recovering rapidly. This process lasted for about 10 days. Lin Xian swallowed many elixirs and heavenly treasures, and finally recovered completely. He wasn't seriously injured in the first place, but he had expended too much energy. However, the Void Divine Furnace managed to block the attack, so he was only slightly injured. After 10 days of recovery, Lin Xian began to communicate with Lin Xian. Since he didn't know how far it was from Wushuang City to be safe, he sent a soul ripple to his soul imprint. Wushuang City. Peerless Saint King was sitting cross-legged in his own secret territory. There was a black hole floating behind him. Beside him was a sword and a black spear. The black spear suddenly vibrated, and boundless demonic chi shook. Peerless Saint King opened his eyes. What was going on? In the next moment he felt a soul ripple. Then he was overjoyed. This was his junior brother's soul ripple. It seemed like he wasn't dead. That's great. Peerless Saint King heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed like he had to tell those little guys. Otherwise they wouldn't have to worry. Peerless Saint King prepared to leak the news to the Dark Red Divine Dragon and Murong Qingqing. As for the others, he would keep the news a secret for now. He still had other things to do. This time the three great sage cities were so reckless. Naturally he wouldn't hold back. Creating a whirlpool, Peerless Saint King sent the news out. As expected, Murong Qingqing and the Dark Red Divine Dragon heaved a sigh of relief when they heard that Lin Xian wasn't dead. Now that their biggest worry was gone, the next step was to discuss how to take revenge. On the other side, a black figure appeared on the Destiny Star. Standing opposite him was the masked bronze emissary. Has the mission been completed? The bronze envoy asked. Although he didn't do it personally, he was hit by the Saint King's attack. He would definitely die. Very well, you can leave now. I'll contact you again if there's anything. The black figure turned into a ray of light and left. Soon he was out of the Destiny Star. He flew into the distance and merged into the void. No one would know of his existence. However, as soon as he left, the sound of a dragon could be heard. Instantly the void was cut in half. With a scream, that person's body split open. His saint blood dyed the void red. That person's soul tried to escape, but at that moment, a hammer fell on him. His body had been completely destroyed. Even his soul had been destroyed. In the void, an old woman holding a flower basket appeared. The dragon's scissors shrunk and entered her basket. Beside her, a burly man walked out. His body was covered in fire. The hammer in his hand was unusually heavy. It was as if he could destroy a star with a single blow. The human world was indeed related to them. The burly man said coldly. Granny Hua frowned. Damn it. Looks like the warning I gave them last time wasn't enough. They actually dared to make a move. Why don't we kill them directly? The burly man stared at the Destiny Star. Granny Hua shook her head. No, we can't make a move now. This time we'll give them a warning first. Next we'll have to make a good plan. There are some people in the second astral realm that need to be cleaned up. Having said that, her turbid eyes suddenly burst out with dazzling rays of light. In the next moment, the two of them turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the universe. Green Hill, Imperial Capital. Lin Xian calmed down after he finished transmitting his message. He thought that his senior brother should be able to receive it. Then he could cultivate properly here. Lin Xian had obtained a lot of benefits in the Gourd world. Now he needed to consolidate them. Lin Xian had devoured thunder and evolved his life force. Therefore he was preparing to break through to the late Minor Saint realm. There were many treasures and elixirs around him. Lin Xian formed a seal and started to break through with all his might. Boom. Asterisk Hong Hong. Asterisk countless laws filled the air around him, and a huge vortex appeared in the sky. Dark clouds appeared and thunder fell as if it was going to destroy everything. Such a scene naturally alarmed the people in the imperial capital. Qin Xianer was also surprised. She walked out of the palace and looked at the terrifying aura beside her. Is this kid going to break through? Thinking of this, she sighed. Lin Xian was only a minor saint, but his strength was already so strong. She wondered how terrifying he would be after he broke through. Thinking of this, her figure swayed and she retreated. On the other side, Qian Bai and the others also retreated. They stared at the terrifying array formation with shocked expressions on their faces. Is young Master Lin breaking through again? Qing Feng was shocked. Isn't this thunder too terrifying? Countless people in the imperial capital looked over. That should be the territory of the Saintess. Could it be that the Saintess is going to break through? Great. Qin Xianer is going to break through. She'll be a Saint Sovereign. The elders of the imperial capital were excited. Of course there were also some who looked gloomy. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Qin Xianer was the Saintess of the Nine-Tailed Fox. She was also a princess. However, the imperial capital had more than one princess. More importantly, there were still many princes. After all, these people were all competitors. Qin Xianer was strong, so they were naturally unhappy. Go and find out. These people went and found out. However, Qin Xianer had already activated the formation, blocking everyone from entering. Chapter 4167. The people outside couldn't find it at all. They could only feel the terrifying thunder and lightning spreading. This shocked them. Could it be that the thunder and lightning were really about to break through to the Holy Venerate realm? Many people went back to report. However, the terrifying lightning lasted for half a month. Suddenly he disappeared. Everyone was stunned. Could it be? The princes and princesses took a deep breath. A cold light appeared in their eyes. Could it be that the Holy Maiden failed to break through? If that was the case, it would be great. It would be best if she went berserk. Many princesses sneered. Qin Xianer and the others were also stunned. Disappeared? Could it be that she succeeded? But it shouldn't be. This was different from the scene of success. Could it be that she failed? They all rushed over. Are you okay? Qin Xianer asked. Lin Xian pushed open the door and walked out. I'm fine. I just broke through. Sorry to disturb you. The commotion was really big. Qin Xianer smiled. Qing Feng was also stunned. He just realized that Lin Xian was only a late small saint. Moreover, it looked like he just broke through. The scene of breaking through was probably not any weaker than breaking through to the Holy Venerate realm. What's going on with this person? Alright, I'm fine. I still need to consolidate. See you in 2 days. Lin Xian waved his hand and closed the door of the hall. Then he sat down again. This time they broke through to the late small saint. His strength improved again. He would probably be able to break through to the Holy Venerate realm next time. This speed greatly surprised him. Thanks to the fortuitous encounter in the Gourd world, he changed his life form. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to break through in such a short time. It had to be said that it was much harder for him to break through compared to others. This was normal. The Nine-Yang divine body was one of the strongest physiques in the universe. The energy needed to break through was far beyond the imagination of those saints. Ling Xian still had the great dragon sword spirit. Once he broke through, his strength would be far beyond those of the same realm. Even now, Lin Xian felt that he was no different from an early Holy Venerate realm cultivator. If this news spread out, it would probably scare them silly. One had to know that the division of the Saint realm was extremely strict. It was very difficult to break through. Furthermore, it was only a small gap. For example, a mid-small saint fighting a late small saint. However, it was 100 times more difficult for a late minor saint to fight a Saint Sovereign. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, Lin Xian now had such confidence. Lin Xian guessed that once she truly broke through to become a Saint Venerable, she would be able to kill people of the same level as her as easily as cutting vegetables. Furthermore, he had an unexpected gain this time around. He had managed to condense the law of lightning. Moreover, it was not an ordinary law of thunder. Lin Xian called it the law of thunder. This was because he had absorbed a large amount of thunder tribulation in the thunder rolling mountain. Coupled with the thunder tribulation from his breakthrough, this law had formed. Like fire, lightning is a violent force, and it carries with it the intent of destruction. Ray's speed was also very fast. Once his law matured, Lin Xian's strength would increase again. After stabilizing its cultivation base, Lin Xian entered the dream leaf and began to hone its lightning laws. The people outside were discussing animatedly. They thought that Qin Xianer had failed to break through. Some people were gloating and even sent people to comfort her. Sure enough, many princesses sent gifts. These were all sent by the princes and princesses. They wanted to take the opportunity to see what the situation was like. However, they were disappointed. Qin Xianer was still a late minor saint. However, her mood was very good and she did not show any signs of depression. In the end, when these people left, Hu Donglai also came. After he arrived, he strode towards the mountain peak. Xianer, are you alright? After he arrived, he asked with concern. Qin Xianer frowned slightly. Qian Bai also said softly, Hu Donglai, pay attention to how you address her. Why don't you call her saintess or call her princess? Sienna is not someone you can call. Hearing this, Hu Donglai did not get angry. Instead he smiled. Little Princess Qianbai, your sister and I grew up together. We are childhood sweethearts. Our relationship is very good. Moreover, in the future your sister is my woman. There is nothing wrong with me calling her Sienna now. Qin Sienna frowned. Who told you that I want to become your woman? Hu Donglai, don't talk nonsense. Otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. Sienna, are you still shy? Don't worry, after you return this time, I will ask my grandfather to propose marriage in 2 days. Thinking about it, the Sage King will definitely agree. Hu Donglai was unusually excited. His grandfather was an extremely terrifying elder of the Nine-Tailed Fox clan. His identity was not ordinary. Although their family was not the royal family, there were countless experts. Even the royal family had to treat it seriously. Moreover, the princesses of the royal family were all married to the descendants of other elders to consolidate their power. At this moment, the mountain peak beside them opened and Lin Xian walked out once again. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. The increase in his strength made his mood very good. Qin Sienna was originally depressed. This Hu Donglai, she could not chase him away. Lin Xian's appearance made her very happy. She directly flew over. You're back. She showed a very concerned look. Seeing this scene, Hu Donglia's face darkened. When he saw Qin Sienna so concerned, she was so jealous that her eyes instantly turned red. Damn it, why is this kid here? Who allowed you to come here? He took a step forward as the blue flames on his body flickered vigorously, which transformed into a terrifying blue palm slapping forward. He wanted to kill the other party as quickly as possible and not give Qin Sienna a chance to react. Facing such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian sneered. He also slapped out with his palm. The golden flames on it jumped and collided with the green flames. An earth-shaking sound rang out. The law of fire filled the air and the green palm was directly torn apart. Hu Donglai also took 2 steps back. His face turned pale and he almost vomited blood. He was forcefully suppressed. Damn it, how is this possible? His eyes almost popped out. The other party had easily broken his attack. For Sienna's sake, I'll spare your life. If you dare to attack me again, I'll send you to hell. Lin Xian glanced at the other party and said coldly, Damn it. Hu Donglia's face became incomparably cold. The other party actually dared to threaten him. It was unforgivable. However, the power that the other party displayed now greatly surprised him. The other party was much stronger when he first met him. It was more than 10 times stronger. It completely exceeded his expectations. Kid, I advise you to stay away from Sienna. She's not someone you can provoke. Otherwise you won't even know how you died. Hu Donglai threatened. Lin Xian sneered. What does what I do have to do with you? You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Do you know who I am? Hu Donglai finally could not hold it in. Lin Xian also smiled. To tell you the truth, it's because of your identity that you're still alive. Chapter 4168. Hu Donglai was so angry that his entire body was trembling. The other party actually dared to threaten him. Lin Xian was impatient. He said coldly, Scram. His voice carried the law of lightning. It sounded like thunder, directly causing Hu Donglia's soul to feel an impact. His ears were bleeding. Despicable brat, just you wait. Hu Donglai did not make a move because he felt that the other party was too strange. The growth of his strength was too strange. He had to go back and investigate properly. With a wave of his robe, he turned and left. Seeing the other party leave, Qianbai jumped over and said, Humph, that despicable guy finally left. I can't stand him the most. You want to marry my sister? No way. After Lin Xian heard this, he looked at Qin Xian. And you have an engagement with him? Qin Xian laughed. How is that possible? How could I fall for him? If I had to choose, I would choose someone like you. All right. Lin Xian laughed. But you're too late. Qin Feng's scalp went numb. He actually dared to speak to the saintess like this. Qianbai was also unhappy. I thought you were a good person, but I didn't expect you to be so bold. Do you know who my sister is? She's the saintess. Do you know how many princesses there are in our imperial capital? There's only one who can become the saintess. She represents our Nine-Tailed Fox clan. If you're bragging, I'll let the Nine-Tailed Fox experts suppress you. Is the Nine-Tailed Fox very powerful? Lin Xian was also surprised. He wanted to take the opportunity to inquire. Qianbai raised her small face and said, Of course, our Saint King and Saint Empress are both at the Saint King level. You say they're not powerful. Those elders are also incomparably powerful. Our nine-tailed fox has even more geniuses. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. The nine-tailed fox clan actually had 2 Saint Kings. It's really unbelievable. Little girl, don't talk nonsense. Qin Xianer laughed. Then she glanced at Lin Xian. Are you trying to inquire about our nine-tailed fox clan? Lin Xian shrugged. I'm just asking about the basic situation. You don't have to be nervous. Of course I'm not worried. I'll tell you everything you want to know. And I have to treat you well. I can't let you run away. Hearing this, Lin Xian broke out in cold sweat. You're not planning something, are you? That's right, that's right. Qin Xianer smiled mysteriously. Then he walked towards the top of the mountain. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was curious as to what you were up to. His sister must be worried about the Green Hill sacrificial ceremony. Qian Bai followed up and said. Lin Xian asked. Little girl, tell me in detail. Qian Bai said that the details are too complicated, so I won't tell you. You should know that this matter involves many princesses and princes. Many of them have designs on my sister, the Holy Maiden. However, those people all have the support of elders behind them. Although my sister also has elders on her side. But this time he came back in a hurry and didn't bring any helpers. Let me do the talking, Qin Xianer. She walked to the top of the mountain and took out some spirit tea. She began to brew tea for Lin Xian. At the same time, she briefly explained the matter. Lin Xian understood after hearing this. The so-called Green Hill sacrificial ceremony should be the ancient inheritance of the Green Hill tribe. It seemed to be a matter of the younger generation fighting for supremacy. As the Holy Maiden, Qin Xianer was envied by many people. In addition, she had been cultivating in the Hehuan Palace all year round. Therefore, she didn't have any helpers with her. From the looks of it, he was trying to rope Lin Xian in as an ally. What benefits can I get by helping you? Lin Xian asked. After all, the following battles would be more intense. There might even be all kinds of secret methods. I have to be careful. I don't want to be involved in such a whirlpool for nothing. Qin Xianer said with narrowed eyes. If you're lucky, I can bring you into the Green Hill Cave. Then, you can definitely break through to the Holy Venerate level. If you can't enter, I'll give you all my cultivation resources. Anyway, I can definitely let you become a Holy Venerate before you leave. Is she serious? Lin Xian's eyes lit up. If he could break through to the Holy Venerate level, it would be a great benefit for him. Although he was only one step away from that level now. He knew that with the strength of the 9 Yang Divine Body and the Great Dragon Sword Soul, it would take a long time for him to enter the Holy Venerate level. If he helped Qin Xianer, he could shorten the time. Therefore he thought about it and said, I'll help you. Qin Xianer said, you have to think carefully. If you stand on my side, I'm afraid it will be very dangerous. Lin Xian said, I'm not afraid. I survived the Holy King's pursuit. Why should I be afraid of anything else? Qin Xianer nodded. All right, you can cultivate here for the time being. I'll inform you when I need you. The two of them formed an alliance. On the other side, Hu Dong's face was gloomy as he returned to his territory. To be honest, he was very unhappy because no one had ever dared to treat him like this. Even the princes and princesses of the royal family were very polite to him. After all, his grandfather was one of the 10 elders of the 9-tailed fox tribe. Moreover, it was the 3rd elder. Each and every one of the 10 great elders was extremely terrifying. Since ancient times they had formed the 10 great clans. In this world they were second only to the royal family. Moreover, if the 10 elders joined forces, then even the royal family had to treat them seriously. Moreover, the situation of the Green Hill Fox was very special. The Holy King and Holy Empress were fighting for the support of the 10 great elders. At this time, who would dare to be rude to him? However, a human brat was actually so arrogant. This made him so angry that he vomited blood. Returning to his palace, Hu Donglia's face was cold. He said, Someone come? Immediately, a slender man knelt on one knee on the ground. Young master, what made you so angry? Hu Donglai said and sent someone to investigate. The Holy Maiden had brought back a human man this time. She wanted to check out his background. His subordinates began to act. It had to be said that they were indeed one of the 10 great clans. The speed was very fast. In less than half a day, the middle-aged man returned. He said respectfully again, Young master, I didn't find anything. That person is very mysterious. I've used all my methods, but the people on the Green Hill don't know him. They don't know him. Hu Donglia's face turned cold. It seemed that he was not from this world. Thinking about it, he should be someone from another sacred city. However, A mere disciple of the sacred city dared to clamor with him. Send someone to deal with this brat. Otherwise don't leave any clues. You must not let Siener notice. Young master, don't worry. Send Hidden Fox. It's absolutely foolproof. Very good, I won't let him see the sun tomorrow. Hu Donglai revealed an ice-cold smile. Chapter 4169. Night fell. Lin Xian once again returned to the main hall. He set up the array and then entered the dream leaf to continue cultivating the law of lightning. However, at this moment, a figure appeared in the sky above the territory. Soon he disappeared. The whole process was very fast. No one could detect him. Hidden Fox flew in the sky while hiding his body and probing the surrounding situation. He easily entered Qin Xiener's territory. Obviously he had a way to break the array here. May I know who young master wants me to kill? He was sent by Hu Donglai. His strength was very strong. He had reached the peak of the small saint realm and was only one step away from the saint realm. Furthermore, he had his own unique characteristic, which was that he could conceal himself. He belonged to the Nine-Tailed Fox clan and was an expert in assassination. It was easy for him to kill a human saint. Finally, he came to the top of a mountain. Looking down, his eyes flickered. The corner of Hidden Fox's mouth raised into a sneer. The saintess was beside him. It seemed that he had to use some methods. He opened his mouth and spat out a green veil. The veil turned into tens of thousands of feet long and directly covered the mountain where Lin Xian was. The corner of Hidden Fox's mouth raised into a smile. This should be enough. His figure flashed and directly rushed in. Inside the main hall, Lin Xian was still cultivating in the dream leaf. However, at this moment, the array he set up issued a warning. Lin Xian instantly retreated from the dream leaf. He opened his eyes. Who dares to break into my territory? Get out! He shouted coldly. His voice carried the law of lightning. Was he discovered? He didn't expect that there would be an array here. In the void, a hazy shadow appeared. It was as if it was translucent. It was impossible to see whether it was real or not. A cold voice came from the shadow. Hidden Fox was very surprised. He originally wanted to solve all of this quietly. Who would have thought that the other party's array was so strange? However, so what if it was discovered? He had already covered everything with the 10,000 light smoke. Even if there was a big battle here, the saintess beside him wouldn't be able to sense it. Moreover, when he glanced at Lin Xian, the disdain in his eyes was even stronger. The other party was only a late-stage small saint. He could kill such a person with a single move. Sigh, I didn't expect young master to send me to kill trash like this. How boring. Brat, how do you want to die? Kneel down obediently and I can give you a quick death. Lin Xian also laughed. They were here to assassinate him. Who instructed you to do this? Tell me and I will spare your life. Spare my life. Brat, do you know what's going on? Look at my cultivation. You're just a late little saint. Can you fight against me, a peak little saint? He felt that this human in front of him was an idiot. So what if you're a peak minor saint? I'm not even afraid of a saint venerable. This is your last chance. Are you going to tell me or not? Damn it. Hidden Fox was thoroughly enraged. It was no wonder that their young master was so angry. This brat was simply too reckless. With a shift of his figure, he hid in the void and completely disappeared. In the next moment he appeared behind the man and a dagger appeared in his hand. He charged towards Lin Xian. In the next moment Lin Xian would probably die. However, Lin Xian dodged the attack. At the same time he flipped his palm. On his palm, Lei Ming's law kept spreading, forming a cage. The law brought along a violent aura, tearing the void apart. Boom. A low rumble was heard and a figure retreated. Hidden Fox's face turned ugly. Damn it, the other party could actually dodge his attack. This really surprised him. Brat, you've completely angered me. I'll be serious next. He felt that it was a shame that he couldn't kill the other party with a single move. Hence, he became serious in the next moment. In his eyes, an extremely terrifying killing intent bloomed. His entire body turned into nothingness. Kill. With this attack, the entire space in the main hall was split into two. Let's see how you can dodge it. Because the other party couldn't dodge his blade no matter what. What surprised him was that Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. Instead, he threw out a punch. With a clang, it collided with his dagger. The terrifying killing intent he unleashed was directly shattered. His entire body was sent flying and he spat out a mouthful of blood. This was impossible. Hidden Fox finally screamed. His face was filled with horror. What was going on? Wasn't the other party a late minor saint? How could he hurt him? Wasn't there a difference of a realm between the two of them? This was a difference of 1,000 years. Even if the other party was a genius, the difference should be at least 500 years. How could the other party make up for the difference of 500 years just like that? He couldn't believe it. Because he was also a genius. Damn it, go to hell. At this moment, Hidden Fox completely exploded. He didn't hold back at all. Lin Xian's face also darkened. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. So what if the other party was a peak minor saint? In the next moment, a Tai Chi diagram appeared in his hand, spinning non-stop. He directly slapped it over. With a bang, the other party's dagger was sent flying. The other party's attack was directly shattered by the Tai Chi diagram. And the other party was enveloped by the Tai Chi diagram. Lin Xian used all his strength to activate the law of death, forming a chain that coiled around the other party's body. No matter how good the other party was at hiding, he couldn't escape at this moment. My life is draining away. Damn it, what did you do to me? Hidden Fox screamed crazily. Lin Xian slapped him. Be quiet, otherwise I'll turn you into a dried corpse. Hidden Fox immediately shut his mouth. His eyes were wide open and his body trembled in fear. Damn it, was this really just a late-stage minor saint? Why did he feel like he was facing a holy sage? Because only when facing a holy sage would he feel this kind of fear. Tell me who sent you to assassinate me? Lin Xian said indifferently. Of course you don't have to say it. I can directly collect your soul. Hidden Fox screamed when he heard this. It's young master. Young master? Let me guess, is your young master Hu Donglai? Hidden Fox had no choice but to nod. To be honest, if it was in the past, even if he was caught, he wouldn't reveal the secret. But now he couldn't. He was really shocked. The human youth in front of him was too mysterious and too strange. It made his soul tremble. Especially the power of death, he had no choice but to tell everything. Tell me about Hu Donglai and the situation of the entire family. Hidden Fox's body trembled. He gritted his teeth and said, If I tell you, can you spare my life? Lin Xian sneered. You don't have the qualifications to negotiate with me. I can directly search your soul. A golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Immediately, Hidden Fox felt that his soul was instantly suppressed. He was so frightened that he screamed. Not only was the other party powerful, but his soul was also so terrifying. He was completely afraid. I'll tell you. He didn't dare to hide anything and directly told him everything he knew. Chapter 4170. After Lin Xian heard this, his face turned cold. Hu Donglia's family was extraordinary. The other party was one of the 10 great elders, which was also one of the 10 great families. Moreover, Hu Donglia's grandfather could be ranked as the 3rd elder, which was enough to show that he was extraordinary. No wonder the other party was so arrogant before. It turned out that he had something to rely on. However, so what? Whether it was the 3rd elder or some other elder, if they dared to provoke him, Lin Xian would definitely not let them off. Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. As for Hidden Fox, who was in front of him, he was trembling. I already said that you can let me go, right? Let you go? You actually dared to assassinate me so recklessly. Do you think that I will let you go so easily? No, damn it, you can't be like this. Hidden Fox screamed in horror. I'll fight it out for you. He wanted to attack with all his might. However, in the next moment, he saw a pair of golden eyes, like the gaze of a god, enveloping him. He felt that his soul had been ruthlessly attacked. With a poochie sound, he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, his body trembling non-stop. He couldn't resist at all. In the next moment, he felt that his soul had been attacked, and an extremely terrifying soul imprint formed in his mind. He wanted to resist, but he couldn't. After a while, his eyes regained clarity. He looked at Lin Xian and knelt down on one knee, paying respects to his master. Very well, you can stay by my side for now. Lin Xian waved his hand, and Hidden Fox turned from a human into a little fox. Then it came to his feet. This was a mini little fox. Its body was like a stream of water, and it was actually transparent. One could imagine that the other party's bloodline was also extremely extraordinary. He was born to be an assassin. But so what if he was extraordinary? He was still subdued by Lin Xian. Right, there seemed to be another treasure outside. Lin Xian pushed open the door of the hall, walked out and looked ahead. The entire mountain range he was in was enveloped by green smoke. 10,000 green smoke, a very impressive sacred artifact. As long as it was enveloped, it would isolate everything. No wonder Qin Xiener, who was nearby, didn't notice it. Put away the treasure. Lin Xian ordered. Hidden Fox said respectfully. He was its master. A trace of astonishing symbols appeared in its eyes. Then the endless net light smoke quickly shrunk and was put away by it. Next, Lin Xian asked Hidden Fox to erase the soul imprint on it before planting his own soul in it. How could he give up on such a treasure? When the sun rose the next day, Hu Donglai was extremely excited. He hurriedly ran over. To be honest, although Hidden Fox did not return last night, he believed that Silver Fox had dealt with the other party. After all, there wouldn't be any accidents when a peak expert fought against a late-stage expert. He had come here today to see the other party's miserable state with his own eyes. Seeing that the other party had arrived, Qin Xianer furrowed her brows once more. This fellow was truly like a lingering spirit. Hu Donglai did not care about this hateful expression. He said, Xianer, where's the friend you brought? Why are you looking for him? Xianer frowned. Hu Donglai said, didn't we have some misunderstanding before? I think it's better to resolve it. He actually just wanted to see the other party's miserable end, so of course he had to find an excuse. Alright. If the two sides could resolve their enmity, it would be a good thing for Qin Xianer. Therefore he flew towards the mountain peak beside him. Hu Donglai also soared into the air. Qian Bai Qingfeng also came. They were all very curious. The four of them arrived at the mountain peak. Looking at the main hall in front of them, Qin Xianer knocked on the door. How could anyone respond? He wanted to see what kind of expression Qin Xianer and the others would have when they saw the situation inside. They should be very shocked. This was the effect he wanted. Daring to go against him, he would definitely let the other party know what regret was. Thinking of this, Hu Donglia's mouth curled up into a cold smile. However, at this moment, the main hall in front of them opened and a figure walked out. How was this possible? The smile on Hu Donglia's face froze. His eyes were wide open in disbelief. The other party came out. The other party was still alive. Damn it, what was going on? Did he not succeed? Why are you looking for me so early in the morning? Lin Xian stretched lazily. Qin Xianer said, Hu Donglai wants to write off the grudge with you, so I'm going to ask for your opinion. Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes turned towards Hu Donglai as the corners of his lips curled into a mysterious smile. He naturally knew that the other party was definitely not here to resolve the grudge. He was here to see his miserable appearance. However, thinking about it, the other party was probably scared silly. With a wave of his hand, a little fox jumped into his hand. He gently patted the other party's head and then looked at Hu Donglai. Oh, you want to resolve the grudge with me? How was that possible? Hu Donglai did not hear Lin Xian's words clearly. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the translucent fox in front of him. Damn it, Hidden Fox. Hidden Fox was actually here, and from the looks of it, how did it become the other party's pet? Damn it, what was going on? One had to know that although Hidden Fox was his subordinate, it was impossible for him to transform into his original form, let alone wagging his tail like a pet. He pointed at Lin Xian with a face full of shock, afraid that he could not even speak clearly. It was obvious that he was completely frightened. Lin Xian looked at this scene and sneered. Qin Xianer, who was beside him, frowned. Hidden Fox was actually in Lin Xian's hands. He instantly understood what was going on. Her face also darkened. Thinking about it, there should have been an intense assassination last night. She actually did not know. Damn it, Hu Donglai was too bold. He actually dared to make a move on the people around her. Hu Donglai, I'm afraid your goal is not that simple. You actually dared to make a move on my friend. Qin Xianer asked coldly. He was not putting her in his eyes at all. Hu Donglai also came back to his senses and said, Xianer, listen to me. How could I make a move on your friend? Then what was going on? Qin Xianer asked. Hu Donglai was so anxious that he was sweating profusely. He said, I don't know either. Damn brat, you actually dared to make a move on our nine-tailed fox clan. You have committed a capital crime, why aren't you kneeling down now? He had no choice but to forcefully suppress the other party now. Someone came. With an angry roar, four figures flew over from afar. These four were also peak small saint existences. They were wearing terrifying flame armor that was burning fiercely. The long spear in their hands enveloped Lin Xian. It seemed that they would make a move once the order was given. The situation for a moment became extremely dangerous. This Hu Donglai actually wanted to make a move here. Chapter 4171. What? You want to fight? Lin Xian sneered. Qin Xianer also frowned. She snorted. How dare you? Who allowed you to come in? Get out. However, the four experts did not move at all. They had no intention of leaving. Lin Xian also frowned when he saw this scene. Xiener, you don't live up to your title of saintess. Can anyone behave atrociously in your territory? Qin Xiener's expression became extremely ugly. Indeed, these were only 4 guards. So what if they were Hu Donglia's men? The other party was just an elder family. And she was not only a princess but also a saintess. They did not even listen to her orders now. Get out or you will be killed without mercy. Qin Xiener shouted coldly. Qing Feng also stood out. The long saber in his hand bloomed with a biting cold light. At the same time he looked at Hu Donglai. Do you dare to disobey the orders of the saintess? His eyes were cold. Hu Donglai smiled and said, You have been deceived by this human brat. I'm helping you now. Listen to me. As he spoke, he came in front of Qin Xiener and blocked her path. It seemed that he did not want Qin Xiener to help. At the same time, he waved his hand and the 4 powerful saints quickly attacked. How dare you? Qin Xiener roared. However, Hu Donglia's body also emitted an extremely terrifying light. Xiener, don't be attacked by this human. Hu Donglia's move could be said to be extremely vicious. These 4 peak minor saints could definitely kill the other party. Even if they could not kill him, as long as the other party dared to attack, then he could use the reputation of the other party injuring the 9-tailed fox to launch an even more terrifying attack. He dared to guarantee that the other party would definitely not survive. However, he still underestimated Lin Xian. This kind of scene was nothing to Lin Xian. Lin Xian looked at the 4 people rushing over. He did not even move. The power in his body blocked everything. At the same time he said to Hidden Fox, Next it will depend on your performance. Hidden Fox nodded and instantly rushed out, transforming into his human form. The dagger in his hand danced in the air. Puff, 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 puff. Blood spurted out. The 4 guards stopped in mid-air. The law and power on their body disappeared. Then 4 bodies fell down. What? Hu Donglai was stunned. Qing Feng was stunned. Qin Xiener was even more stunned. To be honest, she did not expect that the one who did it was not Lin Xian but Silver Fox. Damned Hidden Fox, how dare you betray me? Hu Donglai roared crazily. However, Hidden Fox's expression was extremely cold. He shrank again and came to Lin Xian's side. Lin Xian said with a smile, Not bad, not bad. Your strength did not disappoint me. Although they were both at the pinnacle, Hidden Fox was clearly an extremely terrifying assassin. With the art of assassination, killing 4 people of the same level was a piece of cake. More importantly, the 4 of them weren't prepared at all. They simply did not expect Silver Fox to attack them. Thus, as they were caught off guard, they were instantly killed. Xian also smiled, although she still didn't understand why Hidden Fox would betray them. However, this scene was the best. Lin Xian did not need to make a move, and the people that Hu Donglai brought were killed. In the next moment, she said coldly, Hu Donglai, do you still dare to behave atrociously in my territory? Be careful of what I ask of you. At that time, even your grandfather won't be able to save you. Hu Donglai was so angry that his entire body trembled. To be honest, his eyes were also filled with fear. Damn it, it was too strange. He did not expect that he would be the one to suffer from the beginning. Especially Hidden Fox's betrayal. He stared coldly at Hidden Fox and said, Get over here or I'll let you die without a burial ground. However, Hidden Fox snorted coldly and turned his head away, ignoring him. Hu Donglai felt that he had lost face. He stared at Lin Xian again. Kid, I don't know what method you used to confuse Hidden Fox, but just you wait, this matter is not over. With that he turned around and left. Lin Xian said, Wait. What, do you dare to attack me? Hu Donglai turned his head. There was a hint of arrogance in his eyes. He was the grandson of the 3rd elder. Who dared to touch him? Even Qin Xiener did not dare to touch him. Sure enough, Qin Xiener was also worried. She was afraid that Lin Xian would kill Hu Donglai regardless of everything. If that happened, the 3rd elder would definitely go berserk. At that time she might not even be able to protect Lin Xian. Lin Xian did not say anything. A golden light flashed in his eyes as he activated the heavenly secret divine eyes. At the same time, a pair of golden eyes appeared behind him. Boom, boom. Hu Donglia's body trembled as a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. Do you really dare to attack? He screamed loudly. However, that pair of golden eyes had already disappeared. Lin Xian said with a smile, I'm not interested in attacking you. I'm afraid of dirtying my hands. Scram. Hu Donglai gritted his teeth. Kid, just you wait. This matter is not over. With that, she left the place. Hu Donglai returned to his family with a gloomy expression. Damn it. He smashed his mansion into pieces. Endless cracks spread out around him. The servants below were kneeling on the ground, trembling. What made you so angry? A middle-aged man walked in with a puzzled expression. The other servants did not even dare to breathe loudly. Hu Donglai turned his head and said, "Sixth uncle, you're here. That despicable hidden fox actually betrayed us." Hidden fox betrayed us. The man called Sixth uncle's expression also changed. What's going on? Tell me in detail. He walked forward. He spoke as he walked. The old master wants to see you. Hu Donglai nodded and left his mansion, walking towards a larger territory. That was the core area of their family. After entering, Hu Donglai indeed found many people. There were his brothers and sisters as well as some elders. He greeted them and walked into the main hall. In the main hall, the people sitting there were even more important. Greetings, uncles. Hu Donglai bowed respectfully. Those elders all smiled and nodded. Er's cultivation had become stronger recently. It seemed that he was not far from the peak. The next step was to become a saint. Cultivate well. The future of the family depends on you. Hu Donglai nodded. Uncles, don't worry. I will definitely. Before he finished speaking, his pupils suddenly shrank and he became terrified. A terrifying flame instantly enveloped him. He let out a miserable cry. His body was burned and his soul was enveloped. Save me. What's going on? The people in the main hall were all stunned. Quickly attack. Some people attacked crazily, creating a strong wind as if to extinguish the fire. Some people even spat out seawater that filled the sky. However, it was useless. Hu Donglia's star soul was about to be destroyed. At this moment, a ray of light flew out from inside and instantly pulled Hu Donglia's soul out. Moreover, all the flames were extinguished. Are you all right? Another middle-aged man ran over to him. This was Hu Donglia's father. He was almost scared to death just now. The other elders also walked over. What's going on? Who dares to attack you? Chapter 4172. From the depths of the hall, an even more terrifying aura came. In the next moment, an old man walked out. In his palm there was a soul floating. It was Hu Donglia's. Greetings, father. Greetings, patriarch. The people in the hall quickly bowed. Who dares to attack my grandson? The old man spoke coldly. His voice was unusually low. No one dared to speak. A bunch of trash. They had been plotted against and no one knew. The surrounding people were trembling in fear. Hu Donglai said, "Grandfather, that kid must be that human kid. He wants to kill me. Grandfather, you must kill him." What's going on? The third elder asked coldly. At this moment, a middle-aged man spoke. The holy maiden had brought back a human youth. She said that he was a friend and was currently living in her territory. Sent Hidden Fox to assassinate him, but the other party did not succeed. A friend brought by the holy maiden? The third elder's eyes flickered. No matter whose friend it is, they cannot attack my grandson. Otherwise it would be a dead end. Grandfather, help me take revenge. Hu Donglai screamed. The other people said, "Father, I'll kill him." In their opinion, killing a human was too easy. They were careless before. Now that they were serious, it was easy to capture him. However, the third elder shook his head. The assassination had failed. The holy maiden was definitely prepared. In the assassination she would be able to catch us. She's just a little holy maiden. We're not afraid of her. The surrounding people sneered. Besides, the holy king and holy empress are fighting for us with all their might. Qin Xiener would not dare to be rude to us. These people had nothing to fear. That being said, we can't let others catch us. This matter, let's do it secretly. Alright, you guys can leave. The third elder waved his hand. Hu Donglia's soul floated out and was caught by the middle-aged man. He quickly helped recover. Everyone left, leaving only the third elder. The third elder said indifferently, "Shadowbuzz." A black figure appeared in the hall. It was a black fox. It knelt on one knee in front of the third elder. "Master, please give your orders." The third elder said, "Contact the Holy Empress. Tell her that I have a plan for her." After saying those words, the third elder began sending a telepathic message to Zhang Xian. "Don't spread this matter around and don't let anyone else know about it. Do you understand? Go ahead." The shadow disappeared, and the third elder's eyes shone with a terrifying light. "Humans, Qin Xiener, since you are courting death, then there is no need for you to exist. Qin Xiener's territory. She looked at him suspiciously. You let him go so easily? To be honest, this was not Lin Xian's style at all. Lin Xian also smiled. He had already prepared a big gift for him. Could teach him a lesson. What big gift? Qin Xianer was puzzled. Lin Xian said, just pay attention to the third elder's family. The following days were rather peaceful. Qin Xianer also went to ask around, but she didn't manage to find out anything. However, she was able to sense that something was amiss. Evidently, something had happened earlier. However, it had not spread. On this day, another voice came from outside the territory. This time there were 2 guards standing outside respectfully. We are here on the orders of the Holy Empress to invite the princess to the banquet. Qin Xianer walked out of the hall. With a wave of her hand, the array separated and 2 figures walked over. This is an invitation card. Please don't be late. At the same time, one of the guards said, the Holy Empress knows that the princess has brought a friend and said that he can come along. I understand. You can leave now. Qin Xianer nodded expressionlessly. The 2 guards quickly left. Then she found Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also surprised. You want me to attend the banquet of the royal family? I am a human. Is it appropriate for me to attend? Also, didn't you say that the Holy Empress is hostile to you? Why would she be so kind? Naturally, she wouldn't be so kind. I'm guessing that she must be pretending. However, she should still do it on the surface. After all, we are all members of the royal family. So, are you going or not? I'll take a look. Lin Xian nodded. In the evening, the 2 of them made some preparations and flew into the sky. Qian Bai and Qing Feng were also with them. The 4 of them left the territory and flew into the distance. Not long after, they saw a majestic hall built on the ground. The array there was extremely terrifying and the security was even tighter. After the 4 of them landed, only Lin Xian's identity was checked before he entered. In front of them, the hall was majestic. Outside the hall, there were 2 statues. They were both statues of the 9-tailed fox. One was black and the other was white. They were unusually mighty and extraordinary. They were like ancient beasts. The aura they emitted was shocking. Lin Xian was also surprised after seeing it. The 9-tailed fox race had been an extremely terrifying race since ancient times. Although they weren't an emperor race, they had a long history. They were terrifying beasts in the world. Now, it seemed that they were indeed extraordinary. The 4 of them were invited in. In the hall, 2 figures sat at the front. It was a man and a woman. They were the Holy King and Holy Empress of the 9-tailed fox race. Their auras were hazy and no one dared to look at them directly. Even Lin Xian only glanced at them. He felt that they were the real Holy King's aura and then looked away. The Holy King had his own dignity. If he casually checked them, he would be courting death. Xian greeted her father and mother. Xian and the others began to bow. All right, there's no need for so many formalities. The Holy King smiled. The Holy Empress also said, Xian, you must be better off at home. Now that you're back, you have to stay here for a while. Let your mother take good care of you. Thank you for your concern. Xian's smile became even brighter. However, she snorted coldly in her heart. The other party was probably trying to get rid of her by all means. After all, she wasn't her real mother. This should be the friend you brought. The Holy Empress looked at Lin Xian. The Holy King also looked over. The others also stared at Lin Xian, staring at him non-stop. A human could actually come here. How audacious. The princes and princesses looked at him with disdain. Lin Xian remained calm. He cupped his fists and said, Greetings, Holy King and Holy Empress. The Holy King's eyes flickered. Then he nodded slightly. The Holy Empress' expression was also mysterious. She said, Since you're Xian's friend, you're also an important guest of the 9-tailed fox race. Please take a seat. Then Lin Xian and the others sat down. Most of them were still looking at Lin Xian. They couldn't understand why the Holy King and Holy Empress would let a human sit. It was really unbelievable. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.